It is the unmistakable sound of the greatest rock and roll band in the history of rock and roll music. That would be New World Man by Rush from their album Signals in the early 1980s. And that song gets played to start our show today because Russell is a very clever song requester. Your all request theme this week is new, as in Happy New Year. Is it okay that I still say that? Is it okay that a bow, a Christmas festive bow, still adorns the door to this studio? I don't know. But I think we live in a world where we just get to do what makes us happy. So Happy New Year. And because it is our first All Request Friday of the new year, new is the theme. And Russell said, I would like to hear New World Man by Rush. And that's how it works on All Request Friday. Your request is our command. If you'd like to hear a song, I think we might still have a couple of spots to fill your song in with. All you have to do is drop me an email to mike@570news.com or give us a call and let the guy on the other side of the glass, Josh, know what song it is that you would like to hear that fits the new theme. But I love what Russell did there because you probably know I am a massive, and I do mean massive, fan of the rock band Rush. And I used to start this show every day with Working Man from Rush's debut album. And some said, you know, it's a little bit harsh at 9 o'clock in the morning, Farwell, to be cranking out that heavy rock and roll, almost heavy metal sound. I'm like, come on with your coming on. But I think New World Man eases you into the day a little bit better. This day is Friday. Welcome to it. You made it through this first work week of the new year. The 9th of January, we are going to get really warm today. In fact, it's already pretty mild as you get oot and a boot. I was out yesterday afternoon walking with Rosie, the pandemic pup, and I will not make any bones about this. We deserved the day that we got yesterday. I had been complaining a little bit yesterday about the conditions on Wednesday when Rosie and I were out for our walk. It was getting milder, but things were mostly still just slushy and water everywhere. You couldn't escape it on the sidewalks because the roads were in the same situation, and on it went. So we took full advantage of a beautiful afternoon yesterday, and so many people were out chopping up ice, cleaning things up. My two favorite guys, I saw in a driveway, one with a scraper, one with a shovel, and they were doing the whole ding-dang driveway because clearly they hadn't kept up. And I'm like, you've got a shovel in your hand right now. If you had used that, like even once before this moment, you wouldn't be in the situation you are right now. But nonetheless, that's what happens when the weather gets a little milder. And one gentleman that I saw and had a little chat with as I was walking by, we both agreed that he kind of joked, it's the winter thaw. So here I am with my ice scraper chopping ice. I'm like, yeah, but we deserve this day. He says, you're so right. Like, we needed a break. So we get this little break. We'll enjoy this little break, and then we'll get back to that silly season that we call winter. One of the good things about winter is that hockey gets played in wintertime. And hockey was played last night in Philadelphia, where the Toronto Maple Leafs had a 7-game point streak on the line. And usually after the Leafs play, I get to play for you a little AM, standing for Austin Matthews, on AM radio in the AM part of the day. I can't do Austin Matthews for you because Austin Matthews did not score. But if you followed the game last night, holy moly, the Leafs get a shorthanded goal in the final minutes to tie the game. And then we were treated to one of the most exciting overtime periods you'll ever want to see.
Played into the corner for Mitchkov. Mitchkov wrap around attempt, stopped by the goaltender, and it's cleared ahead. Breakaway opportunity, Cowan. The Cowboy has it on his stick. He's in. Backhand stopped by Vladar. A long lead pass. 2-on-1 going the other way. Couturier in with a pass. Blocked. Puck still in front of the goal. Saved by Morgan Riley. Morgan Riley saves a goal. Back the other way, 2-on-1. Tavares with Cowan. Tavares to Cowan. Scores! Holy Mackinac! Put a Cowboy hat on him. The Leafs win it in overtime. What an exciting turn of events.
It was an incredible overtime period last night. And in the immortal words of the late Bob Cole, everything is happening. But here's another reason. I mean, I love when the Leafs win. 6-0-2 in their last 8 games, by the way. But even though it wasn't an Austin Matthews goal to win it in overtime, it was an Easton Cowan goal, as you just heard. Easton Cowan's first overtime goal in the National Hockey League. And Easton Cowan played in the Ontario Hockey League just last year with the London Knights. And 2 of his teammates on that London Knights team last year, Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley, have just been traded to the Kitchener Rangers. I cannot help but think that is a very good hockey omen for us. 2 of Easton Cowan's former teammates now playing for our Kitchener Rangers, and Easton Cowan with his first overtime NHL goal last night. Good things ahead in the hockey world, right? Okay. Bringing it close to home, although Jared Woolley and Sam O'Reilly and the Kitchener Rangers, it's pretty darn close to home. But I've got to give the Canadian National Fireworks Association credit for this post on social media, because the city of Waterloo has posted on its website that beginning this month, January 2026, you cannot buy or sell fireworks in the city of Waterloo. You may still order fireworks online. And so the Canadian National Fireworks Association points out in its social media post, and this took me a second, maybe it's just not enough coffee yet on this Friday morning, but says the Canadian National Fireworks Association, the city of Waterloo has updated its fireworks bylaw as follows. You cannot buy fireworks, but you may still buy fireworks. And the Canadian National Fireworks Association is absolutely right. Starting this month in Waterloo, you cannot buy or sell fireworks in the city, but you may still order them online. So you can't buy them in the city, but you can buy them as long as you're buying them online. Your computer and internet connection can be in the city of Waterloo, but you can't buy the fireworks within the city of Waterloo. Let's remember how much we want to support local businesses, small, medium, or large, but if your local business happened to be in the business of selling fireworks to the fine residents of Waterloo, well, you can't do that anymore beginning this month. But if you have an online site where people in Waterloo can buy your fireworks, you can just go and buy them there. I continue to be confused and confounded over our fascination of late with fireworks. I just think we have reached peak intolerance with anything that our neighbor does that we don't particularly enjoy. And trust me, I know that we have had incidents that we should not have had when it comes to the use of fireworks. But generally speaking, what we've got here is a whole bunch of nuisance complaints that we have decided are enough for us to take away the privilege. And it is a privilege. It's not your right in the city to set off fireworks, but we've taken away the privilege for others to enjoy those fireworks. Why can't we all just get along? And there will be more on these ever-changing bylaws in the days and weeks ahead. I can assure you of that. But just remember that beginning this month in Waterloo, you cannot buy fireworks, but you can still buy fireworks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, 9, 10.
All right, just ahead of your not $1 million question for this Friday morning, let's get to your Farwell Show 5, shall we? Number one, Statistics Canada says a boost in the number of people looking for work in December drove the unemployment rate higher at the end of the year. The agency says the economy added 8,200 jobs last month, with gains concentrated in full-time work. The unemployment rate rose to 6.8% in December from 6.5% a month earlier, as a growing labor force outpaced job gains in Ontario and Quebec in particular. Economists had been expecting a net loss of 5,000 jobs in December to offset strong employment growth in the previous 3 months. Young workers aged 15 to 24 accounted for 27,000 job losses last month, giving back the gains they saw in November and October. Number two, Regional Council will today debate changes to a site-specific bylaw that could allow the encampment at Weber and Victoria to be cleared of residents. You remember how the public meeting on the proposed changes went on Wednesday night, don't you?
Tweaking a few words to an ill-conceived bylaw, which was inhumane to begin with, doesn't solve the fundamental problem of feeling that we can't trust you as elected officials and we can't trust any of the senior staff advising you. This council has lost all trust that any of you will work with politically active constituents in good faith.
We don't need the bylaws amended. That's wasting all our time. I've got to go home and eat. I'm missing pickleball for this. Doug Craig is falling asleep.
No, Madam Chair,
Adrian,
I'm not falling asleep, please.
Fair.
No,
Sorry,
I'm
I
tired
retract
of
that
this.
statement. Anyway, bottom line, we don't need to amend
People are ridiculing
anything.
council on a continual basis. We're here to listen and to try to do the very best we can.
Right, and Ed
you
had
need
very
to
good
act your
points.
age.
Proposed changes to the bylaw. I'm going to, you know what? My goal for today is to act my age. I might fall short because I got a lot of years to act like, but I'm going to try to act my age today. Proposed changes to the regional bylaw include the elimination of a $5,000 fine for trespassing and a written guarantee of alternative shelter for residents. Number three on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, the Grand River Conservation Authority warning of localized flooding today, as we are expecting as much as 15 millimeters of rain to fall. A flood watch has been issued for areas of the Grand River watershed, including New Hamburg and Ayr. The temperature is expected to climb to 10 degrees. So in the city, here's your reminder, clear your catch basin. Get out there with your shovel, find it, dig it out, get the snow and the ice off the top of it so that water, when it comes, because it's coming, has a place to go. My beloved said to me last night, when are you going to give this up? I said, never. I'm doing the city's work for them by issuing this reminder. Keep your fire hydrants. If there's a fire hydrant near your house, keep it clear of snow. Keep those gas exhaust vents on your house clear of snow. Keep those catch basins clear of snow and ice. Our buddy Kyle sent me a message last night, said he got his cleared out yesterday in Listowel. Attaboy, Kyle. I was out shoveling the street again yesterday, just making sure I'm ready for the rain. The street where I live, let me tell you. Number 4 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, a Cambridge man was sent to hospital after he was hit by a vehicle at one of the busiest roundabouts in that city. Regional police were called out to Franklin Boulevard in Dundas. Just before 8 last night, police say a vehicle struck a 49-year-old man who went to an out-of-region hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. So let me get this straight. New year, same problems mixing pedestrians and vehicles and roundabouts. That's what. So what you're what you're saying here is people trying to cross the road in a roundabout, not always the easiest thing. I got okay. Did we say that in 2025? Did we say that in 2024? Did we say that in 2023? I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning. What a night we are going to have at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. If I sound a little bit like a kid on Christmas morning today, it's because I am. Not only will tonight's game, it's game day, baby. Game day. Not only will tonight feature the newest Rangers, Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley, making their Kitchener debut, but the captain of the first Rangers Memorial Cup team will be enshrined in the level of legacy. That's right. Brian Bellows, the one, the only, the guy when he was a player, people were calling the next Gretzky, Brian Bellows, former Kitchener Ranger, to be recognized tonight. He will be in the building. I need to contain my excitement. Oh, my goodness. By the way, the OHL trade deadline is at noon today. So still about 2 hours and 44 minutes until the trade deadline. So it's possible. I'm just saying there's a chance that there's another trade made by the Kitchener Rangers before that noon deadline. I just want you to be aware of this. And if there is a trade, you will hear about it first right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey, 570 News Radio. And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Friday, the 9th of January.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
Hey, trying my best over here, huh? Waldorf and Statler, toughest critics in the room. Okay, something we do on Friday mornings here on the show, just for a little bit of fun, is what we call the not $1 million question. You may remember this from the past, but just by way of reminder, it's called the not $1 million question because I cannot, as much as I would like to, give you $1 million if you know the answer to this. I was calling it the $1 million question when I first started doing it, and then somebody said, if I get it right, are you giving me $1 million? I said, no, I cannot do that as much as I would like to. So I want to make sure this is all legal and above board. So it's your not $1 million question. But when you get the answer right, we're like really impressed with you, you know? So you'll go through the rest of your day knowing that the fine listeners of this program think you are the smartest person alive. Here we go with the question today. 47% of people say they secretly judge others for doing this in public. What is it? I cannot wait to find out how judgy we are. 47% of people, almost half of us, say we secretly judge others for doing this in public. What is it that we secretly judge others for doing in public? That is your not $1 million question this morning. Your phone lines are open. We'll start taking your guesses for the answer to the not $1 million question right after this on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me. As I went walking that ribbon of highway, I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me the Golden Valley. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. This land was made for you and me.
I like Fridays. It's like a Forrest Gump box of chocolates. I never know what I'm going to get next when it comes to the songs that we play because the songs are requested by you. It's an all request Friday, and this week's theme is new, as in our first all request Friday of the new year. And Norma wanted to hear This Land Is Your Land by the New Christie Minstrels. And so you get your request played under the new theme here on the show this morning. We are also playing our Friday tradition of the not $1 million question. I ask the question, you impress us by knowing the answer. 47% of people say they secretly judge others for doing this in public. What is it? George in Cambridge. Double O George on our list of Farwell's Force members. Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you know the answer to the not $1 million question, George?
I'm pretty confident. I think I know what it is.
Okay.
47% of us, I think I do it too. We judge others if they cannot cover their mouth when they cough or sneeze.
Oh, you know what, George? That is a very good one, and I'm kind of with you. And please, when you do make that coverage, when you sneeze or cough, do it into the crook of your arm there by your elbow. Don't do it into your hands.
Right.
Right, but not the answer we're looking for. Great guess, though, buddy. Thanks, George. I appreciate it. Let's go next to Tony, see if he knows the answer to the not $1 million question. Tony, 47% of people say they secretly judge others for doing this in public. What is it?
Happy Friday, Mike.
Happy Friday, buddy.
I'm torn between having a conversation on your speakerphone or picking your nose, but I think I'll go with the first one.
You think you're going to go with having a conversation on your speakerphone?
Yeah, that picking your nose is pretty close, though, but we'll go with the first one.
Tony, I want you to shout from the rooftops today that you are the smartest guy alive.
No way.
And you had the two options in front of you, and if you went with picking your nose, I was moving on. But you took the right option.
Wow, you just made my day, Mike.
No, Tony, listen, second caller on the not $1 million question, and you knocked it right out of the park, pal. Well done.
There it is. And we won last night.
And we won last night. We, of course, because you and I had a huge hand in that Maple Leafs win, right?
Well, absolutely. You should have heard me yelling at the TV yesterday.
You and me both. I love it. Tony, thanks for playing along.
All right, Mike. Have a great Friday, buddy.
You too. Bye-bye. Here's the thing, and this is where I thought that we might have more difficulty with that. How about that? 2 callers in, and boom, Tony nails it. Here's the thing for me. 47% of people say they secretly judge others for doing this in public. And the answer, as you just heard from Tony, talking on speakerphone. Let me tell you something right now. I do not secretly judge you for doing that. I blatantly judge you. I give you the stink eye. I make sure that you know that I know what an obnoxious jackwagon you are being. Don't do that. Don't ever do that. I don't want to hear your phone conversation. Thank you very much. I don't want to hear the Instagram reel or the TikTok video that you're watching. Goodness gracious me. It's like noise pollution. Anyway, I do not secretly judge anybody for doing that. I make sure that it's abundantly clear that I know what you're doing and I don't like it. But Tony nails the answer to our question. Just before our 9:30 update from the 570 News Center, I don't know if you heard this, but you're going to get to hear it now. We shared with you earlier this week a 911 call that regional police got. Somebody said they have a strange cat on their front lawn, not like a mountain lion or a tiger or anything, just a cat. And they called 911 for that. I think this guy that called York Regional Police, though, for 911 takes the cake. Listen to this.
York Regional Police Communications, Krista speaking. Can I help you?
This isn't an emergency, but it's going to turn into a show in about 5 minutes here.
What do you mean?
I'm heading southbound on the 404. I understand the snowplows are trying to do their job, but they're driving at 20 kilometers an hour down the highway. And if I'm late again, I'm going to be penalized at work. Literally 20 kilometers an hour, miss. There's 5 of them. Like I said, once these trucks move, it's going to be people are going to be doing 140 all the way down the highway.
I don't know if it's the town that does that or it would be MTO, but it's certainly not the police, unfortunately.
Like, it is becoming a miss. You might want to send an officer out here.
Sir, I can't make the snowplows go faster.
I can't make the snowplows go faster. 2 things here. You're late, your problem. Secondly, how fast would you like the snowplows to drive on Highway 400? Just out of curiosity. 911 call to York Regional Police. An update from the 570 News Center, and then the Guelph man who took matters into his own hands to help his ailing father-in-law, building him a tiny home in the woods. That story's coming up on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Oh, get on.
I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California, home of mine. I straddled that Greyhound and rode him into Raleigh and on across Carolina. I had more to trouble to turn into a struggle halfway across Alabama. Well, that hound broke down and left us all stranded in downtown Birmingham. Mississippi clean. I was on that midnight flyer out of Birmingham, smoking in the New Orleans. Somebody help me get out of Louisiana, just help me get to Houston town. There are people there who care a little about me, and I won't let the poor boy down.
It's a little bit of Elvis and Promised Land by request for Sean on this All Request Friday New Songs edition. And Sean says Promised Land fits the theme of new because the song is about a new start. All right, I'll allow it. That's how it works on All Request Friday. We give you a theme and you fill it however creatively you want. And I think that theme of a new start ties in nicely to our next conversation here on the show. I'm joined by Jesse Damery of Guelph, who has done something rather interesting to help out his father-in-law. Jesse, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. You built your father-in-law a tiny home, but you didn't put it in your backyard. You put it in the woods, and you did this for a rather specific reason. What led you to build a tiny home, fully insulated, for your father-in-law?
Well, I'll just give you a Coles Notes version. He's been dealing with mental health for quite some time now, and he's been struggling, obviously, in his current situation. And he tried to do the shelter things. He ended up being homeless there about 2 years ago. He was on housing. They told him he was overhoused. They wanted him to move. Because of his mental health, he denied it. He wanted to stay where he was. He doesn't like change. Nobody let us know that this was going on. So what they did is they cut his housing out and they charged him full market rent. By doing so, he ended up owing, I think it was close to $5,000 in rent. He got the eviction notice 7 days before he was supposed to be kicked out. He let us know what was going on. So against all of our efforts, I came up with the $4,700 to pay his rental arrears, and I guess the people that managed the building said he was just a tyrant in the building, and this was the first step to them kicking him out, and if this didn't work, they would just go to the next step. So eventually he would be kicked out. So he ended up losing his place, getting off the housing list. He came to stay with us for a bit, and we have kids here, and he doesn't have a schedule. He's coming in and out all night, all hours of the night, so we tried our best to have him here, but it just didn't work. So he ended up having to go to a shelter, using a shelter for a while there, and then he got kicked out, went back to the shelter, got kicked out again, then we fought for him to get back in there again, and then the last time he got kicked out, they've red lifted him because they don't really have crisis management people at these shelters. They got people off the streets, and they treat a lot of them like children. And he just didn't take kind to that too well. So they red listed him for all shelters in Guelph, and basically told him he had to sleep in a snowbank this winter. So being my father-in-law and you know, seeing all the concern on the family's faces, and they just didn't know what to do with him at this point, I took it upon myself to build him a mini home in the middle of the woods. And it was in the middle of the woods because he doesn't want to be in these encampments that are around the city because there's a lot of very disloyal people there. There's stealing going on. It's very unsafe for him. He just wants to be by himself. So this was my only solution to the problem that we were dealing with.
Obviously, it sounds like the option was, especially since your father-in-law wasn't inclined to stay at an encampment for the problems that you mentioned, he was just going to be sleeping outside if you had not built this structure for him.
Pretty much. And I know building it in the woods wasn't I'm just going to be honest, was it the most legal thing? It wasn't. I understand that. But these encampments, they're putting up these tarps and it looks very, very decrepit. So what's the difference between building yourself a home out of tarps and just stitching it together, or just having an actual little mini home done that is to code? We had the fire marshals come out 2 days ago because I put them a wood stove in. They inspected everything and they said, hey, I don't see anything here that's against code. Here's a free fire extinguisher. Here's a free carbon monoxide detector, and have a good day.
So in that sense, it sounds quasi-legal, Jesse.
Well, quasi, yes. I guess
Yes.
it would be quasi-legal. But what's the alternative to this? Then he's going to be outside in the winter with nowhere to go, sleeping in stairwells. And what if he can't get to that stairwell that night? And what if because he's probably going to be malnourished because he can't go to the churches either because he's been red listed from any entities in Guelph to help him in his current situation.
Have you had any pushback? I mean, I don't want to draw too much attention to this lest you end up in a little bit of a legal mess, but have you had any pushback to this so far?
To be honest with you, I was fully aware of the community that is kind of near him, and I was respectful, and I didn't want to step on anybody's feet doing this. But the rapport we got in the neighborhood, because he was actually camping there as well all summer with a tent, and people seen him, and people acknowledged that he was there, and we actually got a very good rapport from the community around him. And I got remarks like, "Thank you for doing God's work. If I was in this situation, I would do the same thing." So I actually surprisingly got a lot of positive feedback and no negative feedback from the community that were around.
Given the sorts of places your father-in-law has been living or trying to live all this time, Jesse, how has he adapted to life in the tiny home?
We're taking it day by day. You know, his life has been so scattered the last couple of years, and he's just so defeated. He has bipolar, so every day's an up and down cycle. On his good days, it's great. Like, you know, he's warm. He has some form of organization to his life again now. And this isn't a permanent, he's going to live in the woods for the rest of his life. He's on the housing list to get rehoused, but they say it's going to be up to 8 to 10 years. So right now, this is the solution we have for the winter to get him through the winter months. We're just taking it day by day. If some miraculous something happens, and he gets a place tomorrow, then he'll have a place tomorrow, and I'll dismantle it all, and I'll take it away from there, and I'll leave the property how it was. But for right now, this is the only safe spot for him to be.
You used a term earlier that caught my attention because I'm not familiar with it. You described your father-in-law as overhoused. What does that mean?
So what it was he had housing with his mother. His mother is now, I think, 88, 89 years old. She had to go to a old folks home. So now he was a single man living in a 2-bedroom apartment. So what they did was they said that you're overhoused, you got an extra bedroom, here's your 2 options to go stay somewhere else. Now, the 2 options he had, one was over on Woolwich Street, and that building is terrible and running rampant with addiction. So he did not want to go there, so he kept just denying their requests. But he wasn't telling anybody. Like, if he would have told us, then maybe we could have addressed it at the time. We didn't find it until 7 days before he was getting evicted. Like, the sheriff was coming there to kick him out. So because he had an extra bedroom, they wanted him to go down to a single-bedroom unit. And here's your 2 options. Take one of the 2. Doesn't matter what your thoughts are. You have to move out. So that's what overhoused was.
After going through this entire ordeal, Jesse, what have you learned about our system, for lack of a better word?
I've learned that there isn't very many options out there. And I've also learned that I didn't know that if you get red flagged in one city, because like these shelters, they're great. I know they give people options. They're more of like a transitional point for people to move on to their own place. But what I've learned is there's not very many mental health workers out there. Like, you can't have a bunch of people with some sort of mental deficiency, some sort of ailment that has created them to be in this position. You don't have many people out there to kind of calm them down when things get a little crazy, or there's not a lot of resources out there to point them in the right direction. Basically, what's happening right now is that people get in a situation, they need a helping hand to help them, and it's just not there, because I just think there's just too many people that need help these days.
I admire what you've done for your father-in-law, without question, and I appreciate you making time on the show today to share the story. Thanks for being here, Jesse.
No problem at all. Thank you very much for having me.
Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jesse Damery is a man from Guelph whose father-in-law has fallen on hard times, as you can hear in that conversation. So Jesse took it upon himself to build, with his own hands, the tiny home, insulated, added a wood stove that fire officials have come by and signed off on as to code, meets the standard of the building code. And now Jesse's father-in-law has his own little place in the woods. I understand you're probably asking the same question or wondering the same thing. No, it would not be. It's public land. It's not land that Jesse or his family own, but it's the same place where Dad had been camping in the summer, and now he's got a warm, insulated place to spend the winter because Jesse was at his wit's end. There were no other options because clearly the system is inadequately equipped to serve all of the various needs that exist in the community today. And I want to emphasize again, because this ties in so well to the conversations we've been having on the show this week, here in the region, as we speak here this morning, our regional council is debating the proposed changes to their new bylaw that they hope will allow them to eventually clear the encampment at Weber and Victoria and Kitchener. And when we say clear the encampment, we mean remove people from the place where they have been living, no matter what you think of their living conditions or their choice of abode, but we will remove people from where they have been living for 4 years. That's where we're at in the region of Waterloo right now, with just our largest and most visible encampment. You can bet your bottom dollar that there are tents in wooded areas all over this community. And that meeting at Regional Council on Wednesday night, where local councillors bore the brunt of frustration from, let's face it, if you've got a group of people in council chambers all wearing the same T-shirts and delivering the same messages, this was an orchestrated effort, and that's fine. It's absolutely fine. I'm not knocking that. But we have to remember that all of this is being laid at the feet of the local government. And do you know which level of government is responsible for providing mental health supports and addiction supports, just for example? That would be the provincial government. Do you know which level of government used to be involved in the creation and construction and management of social housing? Our federal government. And we can argue the merits of that, whether or not an upper level of government should be involved in housing, kind of directly involved in it. I get that. It's a question that is absolutely worth discussing and debating. But the federal and provincial governments, A, used to do more, and B, because you heard Jesse Damery say it, and I think we all would agree, that there are just too many people who need too much help right now. So while the supports from upper levels of government have been inadequate, at the same time, the need is growing. So you can see how this problem has manifested itself and why we see it the way that we're seeing it today. Jesse Damery took matters into his own hands, built his father-in-law tiny home in the woods in Guelph. Maybe this is part of the solution. Another better tent city, another encampment made out of shipping containers, the likes of which we have on Herbs Road. I shared with you yesterday on the show during our Not Everybody is a Jackwagon segment about the tech multimillionaire sold his company more than a decade ago for more than $320 million and then decided, well, I mean, I'm not ready to put my feet up and just count my money. I want to try to solve a different problem. And the problem he decided to try and solve is homelessness. Traveled around the world to try to see what was working in other places and ultimately landed on this idea of a village of tiny homes. And he pledged, because he had the financial wherewithal to do it, he pledged to build the first 99 of those homes. And now there's a thriving tiny home community in St. John, New Brunswick, home to 100 people, They pay, on average, $200 a month, all in, internet, utilities, etc., because it's geared to income. And they have a safe place to live and have a sense of community. And maybe we need more Jesse Damerys. Maybe we need that tech multimillionaire to put their money where their homelessness mouth is. I don't know. There are probably as many ideas for solutions as there are problems that exist today. But this is where we're at. And Jesse Damery took matters into his own hands. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Little bit of CanCon on our All Request Friday this week. That is Mass Romantic by Vancouver's The New Pornographers. It's for Nate, number 8 on the list of Farwell's Force members. Your theme for All Request Friday this week is new, as in it's our first All Request Friday of the new year. So Nate wanted to hear some new pornographers. That's how All Request Friday works. We give you a theme. You fill that theme however you think fits, and we'll play a little bit of the song for you. Just thinking back on that conversation we had with Jesse Damery from Guelph, who built a tiny home in the woods to support his ailing father-in-law. Dad was living in a tent as it was. Now we're into the winter months. Rather than leave him exposed to the elements, Jesse takes matters into his own hands. And it just brings up all kinds of ideas around where we're at when it comes to this homelessness crisis. And I shared with you earlier this week what Supportive Housing of Waterloo is doing. And that is a 10-unit, fully supportive housing project that will be built behind Show's existing property at 362 Herb Street West in Waterloo. But they're getting this done for $2.6 million total. So 10 units for $2.6 million. That's not bad when it comes to the kinds, like we're spending tens of millions of dollars regionally on our efforts to end chronic homelessness. I mean, you could get at least 300 of these modular homes as this housing project at Show is demonstrating to us, Supportive Housing of Waterloo, for the money that we're already spending. Like, I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but you would be fair in asking the question, well, why, if they can do 10 units for $2.6 million, where is our $65 million going, right? The big key here is that Supportive Housing of Waterloo is building this on land it already owns, and that becomes the big issue. Bruce sends me an email to Mike at 570news.com and says, why won't we look at our local municipal golf courses? They serve a tiny sliver of the local population, and they don't even generate much in the way of revenue. And Bruce wonders if NIMBYism is at play here. I don't know. I think, look, municipalities should offer recreational opportunities at a reasonable price for residents as well. I don't know that it's necessarily an either or, but Bruce is onto something when he talks about the amount of land that would be available there, and land is the key in a lot of these situations. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then you may have seen this circulating online. It started to get out there yesterday. It is something to behold, and it's all part of a new collaboration between Rangers Reach and KidsAbility. We're going to tell you about it next on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
You took my hand, you showed me how, you promised me you'd be around. that's right. I took your words and I believed in everything you said to me. Yeah, that's right. If someone said 3 years from now, you'd be long gone.
It is a little bit of Pink on your All Request Friday, new songs edition, as in the first All Request Friday of the new year. But Rob wanted to hear Who Knew by Pink. You see, because Rob, I know how to spell, okay? I get it. And Rob likes to play fast and loose with the rules. He didn't want to go New Year. He wanted to go Who Knew. We know you, Rob, and that was Rob's request on this All Request Friday, theme being new songs. I love in-studio guests. I love even more in-studio guests that regularly bring cups of coffee. So Craig Campbell, Executive Director, Rangers Reach, thank you for the fresh cup of coffee.
Always, always.
It's great to see you no matter what. You don't have to add this, but gosh, I like it.
It's kind of on the way.
I appreciate you.
One small turn and then a turn back.
I love it.
It's on the way.
Appreciate you very much. And Craig brings along with him today Paige Phillips, the Director of Philanthropy with KidsAbility. Great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It is an absolute pleasure. And I have learned as we were talking during that news update that what we are going to talk about here with you and Craig this morning is kind of your brainchild. And I saw this start to circulate on social media last night. And immediately, I thought it was something that somebody had mocked up. They made some sort of, AI image of or something like that. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. And then I made the connection to this is what we're talking about this morning. And now I'm over the moon. So I'll let you take it from their page. But there is a really cool collaboration between you at KidsAbility and our friends at Rangers Reach.
Absolutely. So since 2011, Rangers have been supporting KidsAbility, and this is a further extension of that partnership, and we're really excited to talk today about a custom hockey display that will be on raffle through Rangers Reach and with the help of the Kitchener Rangers, all in support of KidsAbility Foundation. So I would love to tell you that it's my colleague Paul Ovajuk who actually makes these custom hockey displays, and he does have, so he is a KidsAbility employee. He works through our Rocket Discovery Center in Research and Innovation, but he has a side passion of collectibles, all sports memorabilia, and then he creates these custom displays. And he approached me a while ago saying, I would like to make one, donate it to the foundation, and how can we enhance the opportunity to show it to the community to raise some funds. And the first thought I had, and by his suggestion as well, was to reach out to Craig at Rangers Reach and talk about what we could do. And here we are today.
So my first thought when I saw it is it's kind of like the old tabletop hockey game, but the players are fully three-dimensional in uniforms, including the Rangers' third jersey. I mean, it just goes on and on from there. Craig, when Paige approaches you at Rangers Reach with this idea, I'm sure it's just like, yes, and then you figure out the rest.
Well, we'd like to think it's that easy. We actually convened a meeting with my colleagues from the hockey club to discuss what could we do. And one of the ways that came up was, could we raffle it? And of course, we have the ability to do those things. And it's not just turnkey. It required us, because we already have some other raffles on the go, like 50-50 and our jersey raffle, we needed to create capacity to do this. And so we did our takeaways, everybody, and we were able to get our supplier to help us create another space to do this for 7 weeks. And here we are. The Rangers put, all the marketing material together for it, the video of the display. We just got it, was delivered on Monday and got it set up, and it's right in the front of Rangers Authentics at the Odd. So anyone who's coming to the game, if you're going to the team store, you're going to see this, and please stop by and be awed about what you see. It is unreal. And I know you talked about the jerseys, but you may have seen in the video in the display, Paul even went to the extent of putting in this year's Remembrance Day jersey is on one of those players. And even the details of Christian Kirsch's helmet, that he said he was pausing TV frames over the World Juniors to get those details so that he could finish them up. It's quite remarkable, this display and the high quality of it. And hats off to Paul and his organization, or his side venture of Top Shelf Collectibles.
It is, the detail is absolutely incredible. You've got Christian Kirsch fully extended making a save. You've got that Remembrance Day jersey from this year that you're talking about. Obviously, you've got the Kitchener Rangers blue. Brian Bellows in his Minnesota North Stars jersey is standing in this display.
Yeah, and some of our other alumni, there's 6 alumni. Scott Stevens in a New Jersey Devils uniform. You've got Al McInnes in the St. Louis Blues. Good old Gabe Landeskog is in there with the Avalanche jersey. So it's kind of encompassed, and we wanted it to display some of our legends and our current legacy of Rangers players and portray all of our jerseys.
The rink boards are done up. There's a Rangers logo. There's a Rangers Reach logo. There's a KidsAbility logo on there. This is an incredible piece of memorabilia. And Paige, when you think about the opportunity that this will provide KidsAbility through the funds raised, what will this help you do?
It's a great question, and I would love to share that it will accomplish 2 things. Not only will it help raise funds to support the programs and the services that KidsAbility provides, it will also create awareness. So a platform or a partnership with Rangers and Rangers Reach allows us to have our name seen by a very large community, a very passionate community, a community full of children that may need our services. So to create an opportunity for awareness and conversation. And then these funds, as I said, will support our programs and services, and we provide pediatric rehabilitation for children with disabilities and developmental delays. And we served over 17,000 children this past year. So support from the community is incredibly important so that we may enhance and grow and extend our programs as far and wide as possible.
Craig, I know that this fits in so well with the work that you do through Rangers Reach. We just came off the holiday bonus draw that supported Clarkie's kids. Now you're able to use your infrastructure, really, and relationships with places like KidsAbility to put on something like this. But isn't this really at the core of what Rangers Reach is all about?
Yeah, I think it's about, we're trying to highlight that we have important partnerships with our organization on top of the grants, scholarships, and other things that we do. We do have partnerships with organizations, and this is one. KidsAbility has been a long-time partner of the Rangers, and it's just one of those things that we want to continue on. And as you say, we have the infrastructure, so why not use it and try? And hey, this is something totally new for us, so but we're off to a good start, and we're excited.
When I saw this and the two of you walked into the studio this morning, I said, I want it. Like, I would like to just have this, please and thank you. But it's not like it's a silent auction where the highest bid wins, and then I probably wouldn't win that anyway because, I work in radio. But this is actually the cool part. Everybody has the same chance of winning because this is a raffle. So we buy a raffle ticket and we get the chance to win this thing.
Yeah, and it's so easy. We're going to have in-person sellers in Rangers Authentics. Tonight, there'll be representatives from KidsAbility. Actually, every night, they're going to be representatives from KidsAbility doing those in-person sales at Rangers Authentics. But like Rangers Reach, if you're anywhere in the province of Ontario, you can visit rangersprize.com and pick up a ticket online. There's no limit to the number of tickets you can buy.
Now you're talking, Craiger. Now you're talking.
I was speaking specifically for you, Mike. You can actually put multiples of those tickets in your cart and do one checkout. But yeah, we've tried to make it really easy. We've tried to make sure that you can see the full display online. We have Cole did a great job putting the video together to market it and kind of give you the impact of what it is. And but to see it in person, the video is awesome, but to see it in person is unreal. So if you don't have a ticket for the game, you might want to just get a ticket for the game tonight so you can come and see the display. It would be worth your price of admission.
How many more reasons do we need to go to this game tonight? We got new players on the ice. We got Brian Bellows being recognized, and we have the opportunity. Honestly, I can't wait to see it in real life, because even just online, what I have seen, this is an incredible piece of art. It really is.
Yeah, we're excited. Paul's done an amazing job, and I know we're grateful to be able to do this for KidsAbility, and we're excited to see what the reaction is tonight. And I do have to say, it is game day. Not only do we have the prize display, we have our 50-50 tonight, and we're on a tear. We were over 13,000 prize last game on January 2nd, so big prizes. But we also have our jersey raffle featuring none other than Cameron Reed's blue game jersey from last year. So there's lots of options for you to spend your money tonight.
Cameron Reed coming back from the World Juniors with a bronze medal. Love to see it. So that's the Rangers jersey raffle tonight. Rangers5050.com sales are already open, I know, because I got my email this morning reminding me, and I will listen. I had that $13K spent the last week, Kreger, and unfortunately I just couldn't come up with the winning number, so I'll do that again tonight. What's the price point for entry on the raffle for the piece of memorabilia?
The prize raffle, $5 for $10, $50 for $25, and $250 for $50.
All right.
Okay. And we've just so people are aware, if you're listening, we've also carried over our single number multi-chance feature to the prize raffle. So you're going to get one number that will be entered into the draw, the number of times corresponding to the chances you purchase. Makes things really easy. We've had great feedback on it. So please, if you like it and you'd like it in your home, it would be a great addition. rangersprize.com and support KidsAbility. We're going to donate all the proceeds directly to them.
I want it in my home so bad. Rangersprize.com. For how long is the raffle open?
The draw will be February 27th.
Okay, so we've got some time on this. Yeah. Rangersprize.com. Paige, just thinking about somebody in your line of work, the director of philanthropy with our KidsAbility Foundation, and you're always trying to reach new audiences. You're trying to find ways to raise these important funds to keep doing the work that you do. This is quite the unique way of going about it.
Yes, it was a very exciting opportunity when Paul approached me. And I just wanted to say, I think this really embodies the spirit of community that Rangers Reach and Rangers have, the fact that they give back in the community, they're involved, and they always recognize ways in which they can support. This project itself even has all three partners on the boards, and we're really, really proud to be recognized in relation with the team and also Rangers Reach. So we just want to send out a big thank you to them and all of you who will be buying tickets with the raffle, and thank you so much for your support.
And I would just want to say, because I've known so many families that have benefited from the support they've gotten through KidsAbility, thanks to you and the entire team there for the work that you do in the community. It is invaluable. So I hope we raise a bucket full of money on this. I'm trying to do as much due credit as I can by talking about it, but just visit rangersprize.com. If you have not yet seen this incredible piece, you will be blown away. And then right there at rangersprize.com, you can get your raffle tickets. And I can tell you, there'll be 250 or more raffle tickets in my cart when I check out, because I need those. I want this thing so bad. Craig Campbell, Executive Director of Rangers Reach. Paige Phillips, Director of Philanthropy at KidsAbility. Thanks again, Kreger, for the coffee, and thank you both for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
I'm going to see you at the rink tonight, buddy.
Absolutely.
Paige, you're going to be kicking around?
Oh, yeah. I'll be selling tickets.
I love it. We'll see you both at the rink tonight. Thanks again.
Thank you.
This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. little bit of Linkin Park. The song is called New Divide, and it's by request for Nathan on this All Request Friday. New Songs Edition. We chose new as the theme this week because it's our first All Request Friday of the new year. So however it is that you fit new into your song request, please do so. Drop me an email, mike@570news.com, or call Josh. He's working on the other side of the glass this morning, and he'll add your song request to our list today. All Request Friday, the new songs edition. Something else that I have begun as a new feature this year on the show, because there was a lot of commentary around the holidays. I'm sure you heard it too. Maybe you even said it. Why can't we keep this Christmas spirit alive all year long? Why does it only happen in this, 2-week or 1-month window in December when we're all anticipating the holiday? So I thought, you know what? There is something to that. And it's important to remember that not everybody is a jackwagon, even on January the 9th. And you're going to hear about this on June the 14th and on September the 16th and next November the 23rd as well, unless those are weekend days. I don't work weekends. It's in my contract. But nonetheless, every day on this show, we will present to you a little reminder that not everybody is a jackwagon. So this morning, I am happy to tell you the story of Gwen Whittle, a lovely 93-year young woman from Liverpool. And she, this year, was spending her first Christmas without her husband of 71 years. Gwen's hubby, James, passed away in September. And so she was going to be spending her first holiday without him. One of their favorite holiday traditions was visiting a restaurant in Liverpool on Boxing Day. And even though she was without James this Christmas, Gwen decided she is still going to uphold that tradition. So she goes to their favorite restaurant, she books a table for one, and she takes with her a photo of her late husband, James, and has it at the table with her for company. So imagine Gwen's surprise when she's sitting there at the table for one with James's picture seated next to her, and 2 large family tables are nearby. One woman at one of the tables invited Gwen to join their family celebration, but Gwen didn't really want to do that because she didn't think it would be right for this old lady to interrupt a family celebration with so many young kids there. Later, when she asked for her bill, she was told that a kind person, complete stranger at another table, had already paid for her lunch. I said, Gwen points out, it was terribly generous, but I can't let you do this. And the woman responded to her, I've been looking for someone to give a Christmas present to, someone who looks like they want cheering up. And that made Gwen cry just a little bit, but they were happy tears at Christmas time. 93-year-old Gwen Whittle, spending her first Christmas without her husband, has her lunch at their favorite restaurant, a tradition on Boxing Day for Gwen and James for so many years, and a stranger buys her lunch for her. Just our reminder on this Friday, the 9th of January, that not everybody is a jackwagon. We just had a great conversation in this studio about one of the many reasons for you to be at the Kitchener Rangers game tonight. Brian Bellows to be enshrined in the level of legacy, new Kitchener Rangers players to see on the ice, the opportunity for you to bid on a one-of-a-kind or buy a raffle ticket on a one-of-a-kind piece of memorabilia. The options just go on and on and on. But on the hockey side, if you're the head coach of this Kitchener Rangers team and you've got all these new players now that you're working with, how the heck to go about doing that? And are you ready for the Oshawa Generals tonight? We'll find out the answers to those questions with Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas, who joins us next on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, if I haven't mentioned it before, let me mention it again, okay? Big night at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. Not only will the captain of the Kitchener Rangers' first Memorial Cup team back in 1982, Brian Bellows, be enshrined in the Rangers' new level of legacy, but the Kitchener Rangers, when they take on the Oshawa Generals tonight at the Memorial Auditorium, have two new faces in their lineup. And these faces have won OHL championships before, a couple of them. They've won a Memorial Cup. They are from the Rangers' arch rivals, London. Same division. Huge rivalry. O'Reilly and Woolley now playing for the Kitchener Rangers. And as we do on Friday mornings ahead of the night game at the Memorial Auditorium, we talk to Rangers head coach Jussi Ahokas for the Coaches Show. Good morning, Jussi.
Good morning.
What do players like Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley bring to your hockey club's lineup?
I think a great two-way game. All in all, a lot of leadership. They know what winning takes, so I think a really good ads for us. And we got one more player to our top six, and really good defenseman who plays hard and heavy, and also is a great PK player from Woolley.
You talk about that championship experience that they have, Jussi. What does that mean for your hockey club as you look ahead to maybe a long playoff run this year?
Well, just that they've gone through it, and they've seen it, they've lived it, and we went quite far, but we lost to them. So they've known just playing the right way, playing in the winning habits, and just knowing what it takes to win. So all in all, it's good ad and good leaders also in the room.
You talk about that run you had last year, which did take you pretty far to the Western Conference Final where you lost to London. Does it feel weird at all having these guys that you played against now on your team?
I don't think so. Like, of course, a little bit, like, because they are our biggest rivals. But I think it's hockey and trade, and if we can get our hockey club better, that's the move what we had to make. And I think Mike did a really good job in getting those players for us.
Along with O'Reilly and Woolley, who the team just traded for, Matt Andonovski is back with your hockey club. Obviously, you know a lot about him. But as a coaching staff, Jussi, how do you work all of these new players, new abilities into your lineup?
I think it's good. We just brought in like a huge amount of leadership into our team. So Andonovski, our last year's captain, huge leader. Riley, captain of the London team. So it's you bring them in, and of course it takes a little bit of time that everybody gets going, and we get the lines what we need. But I think it's just a positive thing that you have a lot of good players, and now there's also gives us that there's competition in the lineup. So that's a big thing.
December was a really busy month for the hockey club, including travel. We played 4 games just last week, and now you've had this week to get back to practicing a lot more with the team. How did you use this week in practice?
Oh, we went hard. Like there's not many times during the season that you have a good long stretch of practice like we had, and I think we had first couple of days off, and now we've been working for 4 days. So you need those kind of practice stretch and just going through our how we play and just going through details and getting little details even better on our game. And I think was a good week, and now it's been a good start of the week, and now we want to finish that it comes a really good week when we have these 2 games ahead of us.
What do you have to do tonight against Oshawa to be successful?
No, they compete. They work hard, so you have to be able to match their compete, and then again against them, you have to always we have to utilize our chances. That's the biggest thing, and we have to be ready that we don't give them any hope in our home rink.
And that's one of the big things. You've made all these changes, you've added these players, and Oshawa is not having a very good season at all. Do you worry at all about a bit of a letdown against a lower-ranked club?
No, I don't think so. It's the same 2 points, and all these new players coming in and a lot of new. We've, like, when you think about it, we've added 5 new players and like 5 top players in just in a month period, and we're getting Reed back also from the World Juniors. So it's quite a bit of changes, and I think everybody's just excited to be back and get going.
It's going to be a great night at the Odd for sure. UC, thank you very much for this. We'll see you at the rink tonight.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
UC Ahokas is the head coach of the Kitchener Rangers. He joins us Friday mornings at this time for the Coaches Show. We do it every Friday morning because game day, baby. Friday nights are hockey nights in Kitchener, and what a time to be a Kitchener Rangers fan. Ask yourself honestly, when is the last time you were this excited about a Kitchener Rangers team in the second half of the season? These additions made by Kitchener Rangers GM Mike McKenzie have been rather incredible, have they not? And look, I'll admit it right along with you. It does feel weird to me. I get how the coaching staff is. And look, they coach hockey players. Sam O'Reilly and Jared Woolley are very good hockey players. They understand the game. They bring leadership and skill to the Kitchener Rangers lineup. The coaches will work with that and get these very good players, help these very good players understand how we do things in Kitchener, and they're going to figure it out in no time. It does feel weird, though, to think that these guys were just wearing London green a couple of weeks ago, and here they are in Rangers blue tonight. A couple of weeks ago in Sam O'Reilly's case, because he was over at the World Juniors winning a bronze medal with Cameron Reed. Jared Woolley was playing days ago, really, with the London Knights, and now he's a member of the Kitchener Rangers. It's an incredible time. But the Rangers have loaded up. So too have the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds loaded up. So too have the Windsor Spitfires and the Flint Firebirds. So nobody said the path was easy, but the Kitchener Rangers have definitely given themselves a chance. Along with that, the new look Ranger lineup. We've got Brian Bellows being enshrined into the level of legacy tonight. That has got me the most excited today. When I was a kid, growing up in this town, and my dad was taking me to Kitchener Rangers games, he was taking me to see Brian Bellows and Jeff Larmer and all of the rest, Al McInnes, Scott Stevens. And to have this era in the building tonight being recognized, I cannot wait. Super excited about that. If you can't make it to the game, do not worry one little bit. Josh Piercy and I have you covered from beginning to end. It all starts with our Harris Law pregame show at 6:30. We'll drop the puck versus the Oshawa Generals just after 7. Josh and I will stay late, take your calls on Rangers Talk until 11 tonight. It's all part of what we do with you as Rangers fans and Rangers broadcasters here on 570 News Radio. So make sure you join us starting at 6:30 tonight. As we look around the Ontario Hockey League, I mentioned those standings. The Oshawa Generals, just 9 wins, 9 in 38 games this season. Their 20 points are the lowest in the entire 20-team league. The Rangers have more than double the points. 50 points for Kitchener. That is a 3-point lead on London for first place in the Midwest Division. Kitchener is ranked second in the Western Conference coming into the game tonight. The Oshawa Generals actually played last night in one of 4 OHL games. Oshawa was in Peterborough, where they lost 3-1. Other games last night, North Bay beating Ottawa 4-2. Kingston, a 6-1 win in Saginaw, and that featured a former Ranger prospect, Thomas Posabal, who the Rangers traded to Kingston because they weren't able to sign him here as an import player. And Posabal scored a lacrosse-style goal in that game in Saginaw last night as the Frontenacs beat the Spirit 6-1. And how about this one in Windsor? I told you Windsor loaded up. They beat up on the Erie Otters last night 9-1. The Rangers haven't even faced the Windsor Spitfires yet. I think we get them twice this month. We get them once for sure, but imagine that. Have not even played the Windsor Spitfires yet, and we're more than halfway through the season. Got to play them 4 times, and the first of those 4 times will come later this month. But that's the look of things here in the Ontario Hockey League. The leaders in terms of points, Nathan Aspinall of Flint has the most points in the league with 55. Then you've got Kieran Walton of Sudbury with 52, and Riley Patterson and Caleb Malholtra. Riley Patterson plays for Niagara. Caleb Malholtra plays for Brantford. They've got 50 points each. And there are still rumblings out there that maybe, just maybe, Kieran Walton of Sudbury and Riley Patterson of Niagara will be traded before the deadline. The deadline is still over an hour away. I don't know anything more than you do. I'm just letting you know a couple of the league's leading point producers may still be traded before that deadline arrives at noon today. And a quick note from the GOHL, the official affiliate league of the OHL. How about those Cambridge Redhawks? It's January the 9th, and they have already clinched a playoff position. There's 16 games to go in the season, and the Redhawks, I mean, it helps when you start the season 23-0, right? But the Redhawks have already clinched a playoff spot. They've got a 31-3 record heading into the weekend, and they've got a couple of games. They're in St. Catharines tonight to play the Falcons, and then on Saturday, the Fort Erie Meteors are coming to the Galt Arena Gardens to take on the Redhawks. But kudos to the Cambridge Redhawks already clinching a playoff spot in the GOHL. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's time for the Farwell Report on your Friday morning, and that's next on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A little bit of Duran and New Moon on Monday by request from Heather on this All Request Friday, New Songs edition. Heather is proud Farwell's Force member number 92. Thank you for the request, the New Songs edition, because this is our first All Request Friday of the new year. Just ahead of your Farwell report for this Friday morning, let's go to the phones. Preston Keith is with us. Good morning, Keith. Keith, where'd you go? I've never talked to Preston Keith before. I've talked to Preston Paul, and we all remember fondly the late Paul from Preston. I was interested in who Preston Keith was. Maybe I've talked to Preston Keith before. He's never described himself as Preston Keith, but I'm sorry he wasn't there when I answered the phone. Remember, our phone lines are always open, and today being Friday, Free Phones Friday from noon until 1, where you get to start the conversation. Doesn't this make the new Farwell report sound super duper official like? I hope it does, because that was the idea. Your Farwell report for this Friday morning, Wellington County OPP say it laid 18 impaired driving charges during its annual Festive Ride campaign, which ran from November the 20th through January the 1st. Now, that's down from the 32 charges laid in 24-25 and the 28 charges laid in 23-24. And these numbers are down despite Wellington County OPP holding several more ride checks in the county in the last couple of years. 182 ride checks this year, up from 125 a year ago. So good job. I mean, you know me and impaired driving. I would like it to be non-existent, but numbers trending down in Wellington County, according to OPP there. Meantime, here in the region, regional police laid 6 impaired driving-related charges and 43 charges under the Highway Traffic Act during its Festive Ride campaign this year, running again from November the 20th through January the 1st. 10,000 plus vehicles were checked, along with the impaired charges and Highway Traffic Act violations here in the region. Police issued 4 3-day suspensions and 4 Liquor License and Control Act charges. Regional Police also out with the results of a retail theft blitz over the holiday period. And this is something that we know has been a going concern. As a result of that blitz, 54 different investigations into retail thefts were conducted. 56 people were arrested, ages 14 to 60. A total of 62 charges laid and 8 people arrested on outstanding warrants. Regional Police recovering $6,700 in stolen property, including sports jerseys, clothing, high-end cosmetics, gift cards, and personal hygiene products. A little before Christmas, I told you during the Farwell Show 5 about a driving school in Guelph that the province had shut down. It turns out, though, there were a lot more driving schools shut down by the province, along with Peel Driving School in Guelph, the one I had told you about before Christmas. Ontario's Ministry of Transportation has revoked the licenses of 65 other driving schools across the province, including 5 right here in the region of Waterloo. Those include Waterloo Driving School, On-Road Driving School in Kitchener, Mr. Learn to Drive in Cambridge, ACE College Driving School in Kitchener, and ACE College Driving School in Waterloo. Now, the MTO hasn't provided a lot of detail as to the reason for the closures, but it has warned potential students of fraudulent activity at schools, such as offers of a guaranteed license or receiving a passing grade without taking a road test. Other problems that have been indicated include that some students are fraudulently obtaining certification without completing the full required hours of training or altering records to indicate a successful completion of a course. We've talked a lot about this. There are the gaps in the system, right? We know that they exist. I find some comfort in knowing that 66 driving schools in the province have had their licenses revoked by the Ministry of Transportation. We got to close those gaps some way, somehow. All right. And speaking of some way, somehow, if you're anything like me, you know that there always seems to be room for dessert, right? No matter how much you have eaten, there always seems to be room for dessert. And I have long blamed my mother for this because I was a spoiled child. There was always dessert at the Farwell household. And so to this day, I'll finish a meal and then I'll be like, I need something sweet. I need to go and get something sweet now. Well, it turns out it wasn't my mother's fault. It's actually science. Because, you see, you have a separate stomach for sweet stuff. Anatomically speaking, there's not actually a separate compartment there. No spare compartment, just the spare tire we get from all of the dessert. But that sensation of still having the room for dessert is widespread enough that it deserves a scientific explanation. Your stomach is designed to stretch and adapt. And as we begin to eat, your stomach undergoes what's known as gastric accommodation. The smooth muscle relaxes, making room without a major increase in pressure. And your appetite is not governed solely by physical hunger. There's this hedonic hunger that is there. That's the desire to eat something just because it's enjoyable or comforting. And sweet foods are particularly potent in this respect. So desserts behave differently once they reach the gut because they require relatively little early breakdown, contributing to the perception that they are easier to accommodate even when you are full. Don't blame your mother for going for dessert, no matter how full you think you are. It's science. It's gastric accommodation. There's always room for something sweet when dinner is done. And that's your Farwell report for this Friday morning. An update from the 570 News Center. This is the news you didn't think you needed to use, and now you've got it. You'll get the good stuff coming up. And then our Friday 4 roundtable assembles to discuss the week's big stories. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Make me feel
says the 1980s, like Huey Lewis and the News. I want a new drug by request from Randy on this All Request Friday, New Songs Edition. Good job by you, Randy. You understood the assignment. It's our first All Request Friday of the new year. It is also our first Friday for Roundtable of the new year, where we discuss the week's big stories and get some different perspectives on them. Joining us on the roundtable this morning, Linda Ockwell Jenner is here, the president of motivationalsteps.com. Linda, good morning.
Good morning. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Going to be, thank you. It's going to be a wonderful 2026. I know it.
I like that optimism. I like it. We're 9 days in, and Linda is guaranteeing another 356 excellent days. Fantastic. David Kuhn joins us as well, former board chair at KidsAbility. David, good morning.
Good morning, and yes, Happy New Year, everyone.
And along with Linda and David, we have Steve Bentley, managing principal, Northern River Financial. Bentley, good morning. Oh, you're still on mute, my friend. Are we going to have to say that more in 2026? You're on mute. You're still on mute. Don't want to say it anymore. Come on, Steve. It's just one little button, buddy. There it is.
Yeah, there we go. It doesn't seem to want to work for me today. Yeah, it's the way my 2026 has started so far, right? So I'll have to lean into Linda there to get some optimism.
There you go.
How you doing? How about the Rangers?
I'm telling you, we had a great half hour talking about them just earlier. It's going to be a fun night and a fun second half of the season with our Kitchener Rangers. Absolutely. For sure. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into the issues of the day, the issues of the week. I think the issue of 2026 so far is the President of the United States. I left this question for our guests deliberately very open-ended. And Linda, I'll start with you. You get the first crack at this one. What will Donald Trump do next?
Oh, my goodness. Well, his plan is to take over the world. I really, really believe that. And it's starting to look very horrible. What will he do next? I think he will continue to try to do as many... He will try and do as many of his plans as possible and upset as many countries as possible and upset the American public as much as possible until the day he is no longer president. He will leave everybody in such a mess. We all have to come together and rebuild. But a few people are saying it's looking like another country many, many years ago where, people couldn't say much and do much. So what should he do? He should either step down or go and get some help. Sorry, but it's heartbreaking. It really is. And I'm not blaming all the American people, but it must be hard for them to be proud of their country, which was once a great American place to live.
I mean, that goes counter to what President Trump says he's going to do. He's going to make America great again. David Kuhn, your thoughts on what's next from the Oval Office?
Yeah, I don't think anybody really knows. But I mean, Trump has a long track record of telling people what he's thinking. I mean, if you want to know, just look on his social media. So, I mean, yeah, I think we need to be concerned. I don't know that he's going to try to, take over the world, but I know that he is making a lot of moves and doing a lot of things that is not good and we should all be concerned about. I mean, the things he says about Canada, the things he says about Greenland and other countries, he uses things as pretexts to go and do other things. It happened in Venezuela, and don't get me wrong, Maduro was a bad guy. People should be happy that he's gone, but what happens next? People should rightly be asking those questions. And there's a lot of stuff going on around the world and in the United States as a result of Trump's actions and what he's allowing to happen that people should most definitely be concerned about. And yes, Canada, we should be too. We are an incredibly resource-rich country. A lot of things that we have, the U.S. needs. So, what's to stop him when he decides, or if he decides that he's going to take what he wants by force? And it's not like he hasn't done that or shown that he will do that. So I think we need to definitely keep a watch and stay vigilant. This goes far beyond politics and liberal and conservative and left and right. I mean, I just saw a thing. I think he was being interviewed by reporters from the New York Times, and somebody asked him, who is the check on your power in the world? And his answer was, me. I'm the check on myself. And, that's pretty scary for a number of reasons. But do I know what he's going to do next? No. Am I concerned? Yeah, I am. And I think everybody should be.
Is Greenland then, David, in that analysis, the buffer between us and annexation? I mean, he seems to be focused on Greenland right now, but you referenced Canada and your concern. So is Greenland maybe the buffer?
Well, I mean, he's going to say, and people are already saying, what Greenland for him is about the Arctic and sovereignty. It's not about that. It's about resources. It's all about resources. So I honestly don't have the answer. I don't know that anybody does. I think it's going to be, the world is going to have to stand up against him, potentially. And I'm not trying to be, defeatist or say World War III is coming, but like people really need to step up and just say they're not going to tolerate it anymore.
Steve Bentley, what's next? What do you think?
All right. He is a blowhard. He says a lot of things. He distracts. He makes noise. He threatens. I look back to his first term as president, where there was a lot of that noise in the beginning of his term, but eventually it subsided. He keeps going in different directions. You don't know where he is going, and he wants you to believe what he wants to say. And that's the thing. Any of these plays are all for resources. Yugoslavia, why did I say Yugoslavia? Venezuela, is about oil. He wants oil. Now he's dictating how that oil is going to be handled, we're going to have lots of U.S. corporations going in there to put billions of dollars into the renovations and upgrades. And you listen to those business leaders and they're saying, no, the price of oil is so low right now. They don't want to invest billions of dollars there, right? But he's done. He's taken a leader out of Venezuela, right? He's done that before. He's done bombing in Iran. He's just, for a person who wants the peace prize, certainly not acting the way that I would expect him to act. Now, I think some of the things we're seeing some of the Americans starting to stand up. I mean, you can see what's going on in Milwaukee, unfortunately. You can see what's going on in, the House of Representatives, where you've got Republicans now standing up, not to a large thing, but I think it's the start where they're starting to say, no, you can't just do whatever you want in Venezuela. I think he's using a lot of rhetoric and a lot of threat in terms of Greenland, and what he wants is access to the resources and claiming them under his name. It's not a question of sovereignty. It's a question of, getting the resources and not having to really pay for them. So I think we need to just take a little bit of a step back and realize that there's a lot of things going on in this world. He's one, and he's just stirring the pot. He's stirring the pot in Russia. He's stirring the pot in China. He's stirring the pot, obviously, with NATO. But he, in one hand, says they're a vital part of NATO. On the other hand, he says he's going to do whatever he wants, and NATO's not going to support it. So who knows what happens with Greenland? Is it they've got, Chinese and Russian ships and planes flying in and around Greenland. They're doing that purposely too, right? We have to understand that they're going to do whatever they can to counter it. But I like what Zelensky said the other day. He basically was asked, what do you think about the removal of the Venezuelan president? He said, I wish we could do that in Russia too.
It is certainly
stand up and do that, right? So I think long and hold, there's a lot of noise. We're still very, very confused as to the direction they're going. I'm just hoping Americans, Republicans, if they still exist, stand up and start pushing back.
There are midterms later this year, and that might change things in the United States. But just imagine if the Republicans maintain control of both the House and the Senate following the midterms. Oh boy, it's going to be a wild 2 more years. But that's even getting later into this year. The immediate future is anyone's guess. Steve Bentley, Linda Ockwell Jenner, David Kuhn with us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. We'll take a break, and when we come back, let's talk Canadian federal politics and a soon-to-be... Has she resigned yet? It was supposed to happen this morning. Is Chrystia Freeland still an MP? I'm asking for a friend. We'll talk about that with our Friday 4 guests as we continue the Mike Farwell Show this morning. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I want a new duck, one that won't try to bite, one that won't chew a hole in my socks, one that won't quack all night. I want a new duck, one with big web feet, one that knows how to wash my car and keep his room real neat.
Speaking of the 1980s, I bet you thought we were playing the same song, back-to-back Huey Lewis on All Request Friday, right? No. We went from Huey Lewis with an actual song. Well, I mean, I guess that was a song. I don't know. But Weird Al, I was never really a big fan. But Ron apparently was. And his request on this All Request Friday New Songs edition wanted to hear I Want a New Duck. And so that's what we do. We play the request because you asked for it. We play it on All Request Friday. Fridays also mean our Friday 4 Roundtable, and we continue our conversation this morning. David Kuhn, Steve Bentley, Linda Ockwell Jenner are here to turn our attention to federal politics. And I checked during the commercial break. Not yet is the answer to whether or not Chrystia Freeland, our former finance minister, has resigned. But David, I'll start with you on this one. She's resigning today, apparently. She will vacate her seat as an MP. Is it too late, David?
Yeah, apparently. You know what? I think she should have resigned the moment she accepted the offer, when she announced it, it should have been, I'm leaving, this is why, But do I think there's anything improper or, wrong about it? Not really. I don't think she's intending to do anything, that's not appropriate. I think, people have said, oh, it's not right. People should look into it. I just think that, logistically, she could have handled it better. But I would assume that, to resign and leave her office, she's got a lot of things to wrap up. So I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. But that being said, if she knew she was going to do this, I think it should have all been done, when she announced that she was going to go work for Zelensky.
You are a very generous soul, David, although I will share in some of that generosity. I'm not going to accuse Chrystia Freeland of anything nefarious here, but the minute you accept a role as an economic advisor to the leader of another nation, you resign your role as a representative of this nation. That to me should
100%.
be 100%. Yeah, and this is what bothers me, because if you don't know that, then I'm a little bit worried, because all of the suspicion that then is cast upon you as you continue to sit as an MP and advise economically the leader of another nation just doesn't add up to me. Steve Bentley, what do you think?
Oh, boy. Remember, she was deputy prime minister for a number of years, right?
that too.
I think, it's interesting because now we're not hearing about the moving to England and taking on the role of the Rhodes Scholarship Organization. So I'm not sure what's happening there. I also think that there's not been a great relationship between the prime minister and Chrystia Freeland. And so I think she probably should have not run in the election, to be honest with you. Now, we're going to have a by-election within 180 days. I think from a Liberal minority perspective, they're not worried because I'm sure that riding will carry a new Liberal candidate into the House of Commons. But simply put, you can't represent or act or advise a foreign country as a member of parliament as a member of any government, any country around the world, specifically Canada here. And I think, she's not getting paid. So what? Right. She obviously feels strength in terms of taking that on. I'm not sure why that came around. I do know she's amazing. She speaks a number of different languages, including Ukrainian. So I think it's in interesting that she's got quite a track record in terms of what she has done. I mean, she was instrumental behind the North American Free Trade Agreement that Donald Trump loved. So it's a question of doing things and not saying, well, she will resign. As David said, as soon as that was even considered and announced, it should have been after she resigned her seat in the House of Commons. So, you know what? I honestly think that Carney has a different style of government, and she's got a lot of background and experience under Justin Trudeau's form of leadership. So, I think maybe it's not a bad thing, but the optics are horrible, to be honest with you, and it should have been done properly, and you should be not questioning and is she resigning today? Apparently. Have we seen anything yet? No. To me, that should have been the first thing, right? Do it. Get it done.
And when you talk about the optics being terrible, and we seem to be in agreement on that, the fact that you, the person who is in the midst of this, the spotlight is shining on you, and you don't recognize how bad these optics are, that is a concern to me. I'm also glad you brought up, Steve, that Rhodes Scholar appointment, because I believe there was also some appointment from Prime Minister Carney to give Chrystia Freeland a soft landing on her exit from cabinet. So how many, is that 3 jobs over and above being an MP? Was she holding down 4 jobs? And since when is being an MP not a full-time job? And oh my goodness, it's just, to me, it's just so messy and unnecessarily so. But Linda, let's get your thoughts on Chrystia Freeland and whether or not the resignation, which will allegedly come today, is too late.
Well, let's look on the bright side. At least it's not America. At least we haven't got that mess going on. So there's always a bright side. Now, I don't know whether this is true or if it's old news, but evidently last fall, she stepped down from cabinet and announced that she would not be seeking re-election. So I hope that's true, and that she would be taking on new full-time professional roles outside of politics. And I believe that's when she stated she'd be taking this role on in England. And I don't think that it has been confirmed that she's not taking on that role. That's a paid full-time role. In between time, she's taking on a volunteer role with a country that we are spending lots of money on and helping, so that somebody doesn't take the country away. So, yes, it's odd. The whole situation's odd, but I think maybe, because I like her, I really like her, because she does speak out and she seems relatively honest. So basically, I think she was either got confused, or Carney, who I love to bits, as you know, said it's okay, you don't have to resign yet. We can't put all the blame on her, but I believe that when she resigns, it's a shame, because then we've got to make sure we get 2 more people, don't we? We need this majority, so that's a shame, but I think we'll get it. And I just wish her good luck helping Zelensky, and I hope she's still going to take on that role in England, because I think it would be perfect for her. So from my perspective, I think we should all think ourselves lucky we haven't got Trump telling us what to do and ignoring us, and I think we've got some really nice people in all parts of government. So I just say, come on, give her a break. Let's all be nice in the new year and say she has her reasons, Carney had his reasons, and say goodbye to her nicely. Because we're always picking, aren't we? Right.
Okay, so you know what? I'm glad you reminded us that she did say she would not seek re-election. So in light of that, eventually, Linda, you know that I will eventually retire from this job. So in the meantime, yes, I'm just going to call up my friends at CTV, which is the other big telecom company that owns them, and I'll just do some work over there. I'll do that outside of these hours, because I can have both, right? There's a matter of principle here.
Mike.
Thank you, Linda. I'm going to stay right here. I like Rogers. I like Rogers an awful lot. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, and Steve Bentley are with us on our Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. We're going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then how would you like to be a regional councillor? Holy moly. Did regional councillors get an earful on Wednesday night when they talked about an amended bylaw that would allow them to clear residents from an encampment in Kitchener? We'll talk about that meeting and where we go from here next with our Friday 4 Roundtable. This is the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
summer night. Storm clouds in the air. My eyes a little heavy. I'm feeling in the best I'm hardly aware. I don't want you on the phone. Don't you play good girl with me. Why must I always say it again? I got a new girl now.
A little bit more Canadian content on our All Request Friday. New songs edition. That is New Girl Now by Honeymoon Suite by request from Andrew on our All Request Friday. Fridays also mean our Friday 4 Roundtable, where we discuss the week's big stories. With us around the table this morning, Steve Bentley, who's a managing principal at Northern River Financial. Linda Ockwell-Jenner is here. She's the president at motivationalsteps.com. And David Kuhn, the former board chair at KW KidsAbility, is with us as well. Steve, you get first crack at this next one. And I want to share with you that our reporter, Justin Kohler, who has been doing just terrific work on this story all week, let me know that he was following the regional council meeting this morning. And councillors, despite what happened on Wednesday night when they heard, and they really heard from the public, have passed this amended bylaw in hopes of it being the ticket to clearing the encampment at Weber and Victoria in Kitchener. Steve, what do you make of these plans to clear the encampment?
You know, that's a very, very complicated question. And I guess with passing this motion, the initial bylaw was passed in April 2025, but now 100 Victoria Street encampment, the amendments push the date to April 1st and remove financial penalties for trespassing. What options do people who are homeless have? I think one of the big things is there are some options, but there are some people who choose not to avail themselves of those options, and that's their right to do that, right? That said, with this encampment, we've got a very large project that's supposed to take place on those lands, and it has a big impact on our transportation system in and out of Kitchener-Waterloo to Toronto, as an example. And we can't move forward with that until we find a way to find an alternative solution for the people that are encamped there. There's been in various encampments difficulties with fires, with some crime, with some issues that, you know, is just a matter of being put into an environment that makes it very difficult for some people to actually have a way to survive in those. And I think we need to really step up and take this problem on. And of course, at a regional level, they've not had a very good couple weeks. I mean, they're dealing with the amount of water available, the backing away from continuing to approve developments that are supposed to go on. And that's a big issue. And I look at that and I say, why aren't we ahead on that, right? Because we can anticipate where our growth is going to go. But it just is another example of an issue that we just have not really taken care of. And I don't know that you can take care of it, but we can at least make some efforts to try and find alternative solutions for people who need accommodation, who need a place to live. Waterloo has some, you know, certainly up in Herb Street and they are by the, the educational building off the expressway. But it's not enough. And we keep talking, we keep kicking the ball around, and nobody really wants to really take a firm handle on it and say, what are we going to do? And I really can't answer that question. I think it's a very difficult question, but we need to find the resources. We need to find the options that are going to provide at least some options for people who are feeling that they got nowhere to go, and having to go to an encampment is what they have to do. They feel they've got no other choices. So it's a very difficult question, and I can't pretend to even understand how to approach it.
I wish that there had been an MPP and an MP or two at that meeting on Wednesday night to hear this full throat from the public, because I don't disagree, Steve, that we need to find a way, we need to find the resources. I am gobsmacked that there seems to be this idea that it should all be the local government's responsibility, because we do not, and I repeat, do not have the depth of resources to deal with the magnitude of this issue. And just on your point about people having the right to choose where it is they go. We had a story on the show this morning. We spoke to a man from Guelph whose father-in-law suffers from a mental illness, has been red listed from every shelter in Guelph, has been in encampments, the larger community-sized encampments, if you will, and they weren't working for him because of various reasons, drug use, theft, etc. So this man in Guelph has built for his father-in-law a tiny home in the woods. Legal? Probably not, but he's done it because otherwise his dad is in deep doo-doo, his father-in-law, through the winter months. So anyway, there are all kinds of creative solutions happening out there. Linda, what do you make of this amended bylaw and the efforts to clear that encampment?
Well, I think it's disgusting, especially one. I'm not going to name the person who said it, but one person said something like, let me get this right. We've done enough for the homeless population. Okay, have we? So let's go back to 1993 when I moved here from England. I don't remember this situation. I don't remember all these homeless people. I don't remember all these mental health issues where people had nowhere to live and nowhere to go for help. There is places for people to go for help for mental health issues, but they haven't got enough funding. They haven't got enough people working there. That's down to the government and the local authorities to work on that. So that's my message to both. But if we didn't have this problem in 1993, where have we gone wrong? Because we've even not had room for people moving here from other countries. I'm an immigrant, and now we're saying, well, we can't have any more immigrants. We haven't got enough homes for ourselves. So I put this down to bad planning, bad preparation, and bad choices. And the people who've been making these choices since 1993 and still can't get them right shouldn't be making those choices. So first of all, let's go back to the beginning. How did this start? When did people start making encampments? What could we have done to help sooner? We all need more resources, more money. We all need that in various organisations. So I don't think enough people talk to each other. I don't think the government, the city, people like us, I don't think we talk together about how this could. I think tiny houses is a great way to go. I think tiny little, like they've started some places started putting these little tiny places up for homeless. The people who don't want the help, there should be somewhere where they can have an encampment legally. Because if they don't want the mental health help, but they're not a danger to the public, you see, we're going round and round and round and nobody's found a solution yet. We keep going, let's just get rid of them because this is stopping transportation working. Well, imagine if we were in that situation. That's all I've got to say on it. We all need to think how this happened in the first place, why nothing's been done before, and more money has to be sent to the resources for housing and mental health. It's simple.
Interestingly, Linda, when you arrived here in 1993, that would have been right around the time that the federal government got out of the business of building social housing. So there's that to consider as well. David Kuhn, your thoughts?
Why is this a municipal issue? Why is it an issue for the region of Waterloo? It's not. Okay, so to your point, Mike, I mean, we have MPs, we have MPPs in this region. We have a provincial cabinet minister in this region. We have a former federal cabinet minister in this region. So why are they not doing more? Why is it that every election we've had, like the last two elections, what's dominated it? Donald Trump. What are we going to do about Donald Trump? Who's going to protect Canada? Who's going to protect Ontario? Why haven't we talked about the home? Like, it's easy to dump on the region of Waterloo, but they don't have the resources to deal with this. They don't have the resources to deal with mental health and addiction and all the other things that people might be dealing with that, puts them in encampments. But that being said, there are people that say, well, we have a responsibility to help people in our community. Yeah, we do. But where does that stop? Because there are people who come here from other cities and other areas. You just talked about that, Mike. Somebody moving around, didn't have somewhere to go. And I feel really bad for that. But at what point do we say, okay, enough is enough? And that's, again, I'm going to look at the upper levels of government and say, you folks need to step in. You know, I haven't seen anything from Mike Harris Jr., and I didn't see anything from Bardish or any of the other local MPs on what happened at regional council. Maybe we will after the bylaw was passed today, but don't know. But I mean, this is an all level of government. You know, they need to be talking to each other, and there needs to be more than talk. There needs to be some solutions, because we've been talking about this for a long time, and it's got to stop.
You make such a good point, David. And those upper levels of government will tell you that we've invested these many millions in the Housing Accelerator Fund or this, that, and the other thing. Provincially, they'll talk about the number of beds opened up or treatment centers that are now available. But that's province-wide or nationwide. And to deal with 2,300 plus people in this community alone living homeless, it just goes to show you how inadequate the response is across the board. Something that Steve Bentley alluded to in talking about the homelessness issue is the water scarcity issue suddenly in this region. Let's dive into that. No, don't dive. This is the shallow end now. You'll hurt yourself diving into this one, but we'll at least talk about it as we continue our Friday 4 roundtable this morning. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, Steve Bentley with us on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Six, but we weren't calling it the Six when Lowest of the Low formed back in the 90s. But I love me some alternative Canadian rock, and it's an all request Friday. Henry Needs a New Pair of Shoes by Lowest of the Low for Dean on this all request Friday new songs edition. We wind down our Friday 4 roundtable discussion this morning with the fourth of our topics for our 4 people here around the table. Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, Steve Bentley join yours truly. And it's the water issue, Linda. And boy, oh boy, is it a big issue. Now we're pausing development in the region. How worried are you about this water quantity issue?
It's no good asking me why I'm worried. Evidently, this has been going on for 20 years. Shouldn't somebody else have been worried 20 years ago? I hope that's true. It says the region of Waterloo, including Kitchener, has been aware of potential long-term water supply challenges for at least 20 years. Oh, that's not a long time, is it? But a specific capacity issue in the Mannheim service area was officially identified by regional staff in the fall of 2025. So now it's come to public light. Now we're all panicking because we haven't got enough water. We're going backwards, Mike. We've just talked about bad planning. We've just talked about more resources and better management. This is a really good example of how whoever 20 years ago didn't think this would be a problem in 20 years wasn't doing the job right. Are they still around? Do they care? So, yes, it's a big issue. And now everybody's panicking. But why are we putting let me get this one right. Are we putting the cart before the horse? I think that's what we're doing. And we've got to stop, Mike. We've got to put our foot down and say, hang on a minute, somebody's making mistakes here. It's as easy as that. Somebody has to take accountability. Who couldn't plan for 20 years? I plan 2 businesses and a family and other stuff all on my own with no volunteers. So if I can do it and I don't have loads of money, somebody else can do it, Mike. That's all I got to say. I
think that's the crux of the issue, Linda. Somebody, we've known for a while there was a big mess up in here. Where is the accountability? David Kuhn, your thoughts?
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Linda. I think it comes down to prioritizing what's important. But I think we also need to keep in mind that a lot of what happens at the government level, political level, whatever, it's something you need to sell, right? And so a lot of what we don't talk about during elections and in between, it really is infrastructure, because people don't think about the stuff they don't see until it doesn't work for them. So yeah, I do think there is something to be said for, again, planning and staying on top of things. But if you need to decide between some infrastructure project that is going to cost a bundle of money that people don't see versus something that's very visible and very popular, then what are you going to pick if you're the politician? What directive are you going to give, right? So we have to look at it that way too.
That is an excellent point, and it reminds me of the number of people I have heard from in the last 24 to 36 hours saying, what, $4.6 billion on LRT Phase 2? What about helping out here with the water problem? Visible, tracks, construction, LRT. Invisible, the aquifers that are providing our water. Yeah. Steve Bentley, your thoughts. Great point, David.
I don't know where to start on this. You know, we see the tax increases that we're facing on an annual basis now. We're talking about $5 billion to put, LRT into Cambridge. I mean, we're talking about a very specific area with respect to the Mannheim service area, and that includes the bulk of Kitchener, Uptown Waterloo, and the Preston area of Cambridge. So they're getting hit again. 20 years. Where is the strategic long-term planning? It's great to say, let's grow. All these people are coming into our municipality, and we see condos going up. And now we've got a condo that's been put on hold for 2 years because they don't have the ability to say, go ahead, because we can't guarantee a water supply that's going to be there in the next number of years, right? Are we building too much? We look at the land accumulation that's happening out in the new Dundee area, right? And there's questions about its being able to be completed as well. So it's not a current administration issue as much as it's a long-term plan. Any organization has to, I know Linda just spoke about it, has to plan looking forward into the long term instead of just kicking the ball down the road, or the can, proverbially. I just think we need to take a step back. And I guess now there's a third-party review looking at this situation. And the problem is when we identify it, it's not a quick fix. It's going to take years, and it's going to take a lot of money. And where does that money come from? Speaking in the line of what David just said, people don't want to pay for it because they don't see it. It's not nice and shiny and new, right? But we can't continue to grow our population in this region because we're going to have a need. And we're going to have a need for water. We're going to have a need for utilities. We're going to have a need for the buildings and development. We talk about passing things down from the province to the regional side of it, right? And I think, you talk about the affordability of what we're dealing with here. We just keep getting more and more passed down by senior levels of government saying, okay, it's your problem. We don't want you to spend and collect development fees because we want to try and use some money to do some other things like affordable housing. We need a senior look at this from a federal, provincial, and whether you think we should still have regional government, I don't know. There's another discussion right there.
Don't get me down that path, Bentley.
Looking at it in a larger sense. And we're not the only community that's in a situation like this.
All right. On that note, we have to say goodbye because my need is to stay on time and get you to the 570 News Center for the next update, which is just minutes away. Steve Bentley, Managing Principal, Northern River Financial, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, President, MotivationalSteps.com, and David Kuhn, former board chair at KW Accessibility, joining us on the Friday 4 Roundtable this morning. I hope our senior government officials were tuned in today. I think we gave them a starting point, right, for some meaningful work to be done here in our community. Thank you all very much for being with us. Enjoy the weekend ahead, and I look forward to our next conversation.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.
We're going to get you to the 570 News Center for the update, and then we're going to open the phone lines so we can hear directly from you, our Friday tradition of free phones. I'm not giving you a free phone, but the phone lines are free for your use. Share your thoughts on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finished cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight. Or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Let's get right down to business on Free Phones Friday. We open the phone lines so they are free to you. You can share your thoughts with us, the issues of the day, the issues of the week. Is it spring outside? I thought it was going to rain all ding-dang day. I'm hoping this holds off long enough so Rosie and I can get out for a walk before I go to the rink tonight for the game. Oh, my goodness, it looks just spectacular outside. You know the phone numbers. They're already getting busy, our lines, so I'll get right to it and get through as many calls as we can on Free Phones Friday. Jersey Bill, start us off. Good afternoon.
Oh, yeah. Well, just like you had to do with the three people you had on Friday 4, I have to mention Mr. Donald Trump again. It's just absolutely crazy, and everything's so contradictory. This is not really brought up even when the various news people are interviewing, especially the Republicans that support him. You know, they all say, we're going to be tough on Iran because Iran is killing its people and keeping people from demonstrating. And yet the same thing happens in the U.S., and they don't see the obvious contradiction. And for the life of me, I can't figure it out. And you know, and it really has gotten to the point, especially with his dealings with the rest of the world. He's friends with Kim Jong-un of all people. He removes Maduro, but he's willing to work with essentially the communist government that's left behind after he's been taken out. Of course, Putin, an old line Stalinist, that's one of his best buddies, and she is one of the most brilliant people in the world. You know, I'm really wondering, is he a secret fellow traveler communist, or is he just a capitalist pig who just wants his fellow capitalist pigs' friends to make as many billions of dollars that they can accumulate unless they anger him, and then he'll try to destroy them. That's just absolutely crazy what's happening, and I couldn't agree more that Canada just has to be very careful about how they deal with this unstable world leader.
Billy, appreciate the call. I can't help but think there's something to the idea of a wealthy person wanting others to get wealthier while he has the reins of power. Sean is next on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon. Wow, how do you follow that?
The best you can, my friend, the best you can.
Well, you know, that comment about sharing your mind, I was thinking about that, and I was thinking it would be highly undignified to scream over the radio. But
hey, Kyle's done it on many an occasion, Sean, so just give me fair warning so I can pull my headphones back.
Okay.
I
was watching the news last night.
Yeah.
I was so infuriated. These GRT bus stops. Okay. The disabled people, the snow. They say they don't even start clearing the snow for 24 hours. This is on the news, and they have until 48 hours to get it done. What are people supposed to do? And they wonder why their ridership's down. Like, come on, this is ridiculous. If people are using the buses, should they at least not give them the same consideration as drivers? It's like, holy smokes. I could not believe that when I heard that. They don't even have to start for 24 hours clearing the snow. And they show this poor guy in a wheelchair. It's like, this is the part where I wanted to scream, quite frankly.
Listen, Sean, I don't disagree with your point. And just think, as homeowners, we have 24 hours to clear the snow. That make sense to me. Why are so rules for thee but not for me? Is that what we're saying here, GRT? You get 48 hours. Anyway, don't tell me there is not people power enough to do that job better at GRT stops. Do not tell me that. I've seen my tax bill. Thank you very much. Mary, you're on Free Phones. Good afternoon.
Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mary.
Mike with a mic.
That's me.
Listen, I'm a bit befuddled about the thing that's going on with the encampment, because I listened to Rob Deutschman, and what he said was that the judge, I believe it was Valente, heard the first, and she said they cannot remove the people.
Right. So here's what's going to happen.
Until
Right.
they have a place for them to go to.
Here's what's going to happen in a nutshell. I believe, Mary, you're right. It was Justice Michael Valente the first time, and then I believe it was also a Michael Gibson the second time.
Yeah.
Yes. But what I think is going to happen, the region can amend all the bylaws it wants. This is still going to have to pass the smell test legally in court, and I think the courts will see it differently. But we'll see. We'll find out.
But Mike,
Yes.
this is a waste of time and money. but hey, they know. They know the rule, and they don't follow it.
Who?
And
Which rule?
the regional, they took it to court, and they were given a discord
So
decision.
the rule that
So
they need
what?
to know is to have adequate shelter for the people they're moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, they haven't done that.
I got you.
So they're wasting time and money. And where is our member of provincial parliament? You know who I mean.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate the call. The member of provincial parliament for the area where the encampment is would be Aislinn Clancy. She represents Kitchener Centre. Unfortunately, she is one of two Green MPPs, and that doesn't carry a whole lot of weight against 80-plus MPPs who represent the governing Conservatives. But I digress. Barbara is next on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Barb.
Well, good morning, Mike. How are you? Or good afternoon.
Good, thank you.
Mike, I could be chewing nails right now. I am so pissed about the water supply situation in the region of Waterloo. It is time to talk about incompetence on behalf of the region. Last year, the region paid $630 million in salary, wages, and benefits. And we know that nobody was working on sewers, as published widely, that they have zero sewer staff there. They spent $270,000 on sewers last year. Their entire, which is completely incompetent, by the way, the entire budget is on water. Okay, let me get this straight. So Luisa D'Amato said in the record, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, that what happened was the region forgot to account for the fact that infill development is happening. Infill development is when we knock down a couple of houses and maybe put up a high rise or whatever, which is we're totally encouraging infill development because it's not efficient to extend sewer and water services to the boonies or whatever. So infill development is what we've been encouraging. In fact, I believe it's in force that and half of our development is infill development. So apparently the region, because they don't see infill development applications, they're done at the city level, they only see greenfield development applications. They weren't counting them in their water use budget or whatever you want to call it. Mike, $630 million a year on salaries, wages, and benefits at the region. And this relates directly to what's happening at the region right now with homelessness. $630 million. We are wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars on stupid things that don't matter and nobody's minding the store. I think the whole council needs to resign. Get the hell out. They already fired the commissioner of engineering, who was not an engineer, and the manager of engineering, who was not an engineer. It's time to look back 5 years and look at who the previous director of engineering and the previous commissioner of engineering. What are these people doing for their money? What are they doing? And meanwhile, people are dying on the streets. We don't have enough water because we're not fixing our sewers the way we should be. As a matter of fact, Mike, I spoke yesterday at the Kitchener Women's Probus Group. That's why I didn't hear your show yesterday. And Aislinn Clancy came to just watch and learn about sewers from me. And the entire room was on the edge of their seats, la, la, la. And several people had flooding over the last couple of weeks who had never had flooding before. And, of course, I said, have you shoveled your catch basin? Well, we didn't know about that, whatever. Okay, who's running? And several people told me, as I am always told at these kinds of things, why don't you run for office? You should run for office. And I keep saying, no, I need to be the sewer expert. Other people can be politicians. I need to be the sewer expert. But this is malfeasance and incompetence at the region. And the people are dying on the streets while the people at the region. Anyway, I told you I was chewing nails this morning, and I never let you talk yourself. But anyway, that's how I see it from the sewer expert lady point of view.
Thank you, Barbara. Great to hear from you today from the sewer expert. I cannot disagree that there is incompetence at a grand scale when it comes to the water issue that we are currently in the midst of. Barbara is not wrong about those positions within the regional government, the staff positions in engineering responsible for our water, where those positions, the people holding those positions, were terminated. Why? What happened? What did they not do that they were supposed to have done that led to their termination? Of course, if we were to inquire too much further into that, I'm certain the response would be these are confidential HR matters. But it's not too hard from where I'm sitting to connect those dots. The leader of this particular department, suddenly her former role is being publicized as the region looks for a new person to do that job. And at the same time, we have a water quantity issue here in the region. Am I allowed to connect those? Because that's a pretty short line, I think. But I digress. Here we are. Barbara suggests we fire the entirety of council. Well, this year, it just so happens, is your opportunity to do that if you would like to. It is a municipal election year, and we have some issues to deal with, don't we? That's why we have things like this, Free Phones Friday. We can deal with the issues directly, your voice to the public. And we'll take more calls as we've got a couple of lines open for you on the Mike Farwell Show. Free Phones Friday continues on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
My love, I'll never find the words, my love.
You make me feel brand new. Those are the stylistics for Rory on this All Request Friday, new songs edition. Your theme this week, new, because it's our first All Request Friday of the new year. You make me feel brand new. As we continue Free Phones Friday here on the program, phone lines open to hear directly from you. Kyle is next. Good afternoon, Kyle.
Hey, Mike. I'm quiet today because apparently I yell on the radio too often.
I didn't say too often. I just said that's usually or sometimes something that you do. And I just ask for advance warning so I can pull my headphones back and not be screamed at so directly. That's all.
Don't worry. Baseball hasn't started yet, my friend.
And I appreciate the passion, my friend. I appreciate it.
I have a solution for the water issue. We drill and we put a pipeline connecting the Great Lakes to Kitchener and Waterloo region. How about that?
Drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. That's it. The water that comes in goes into the Kitchener region. We treat it, goes back into the lake, cleaner that it came into. Solutions made. There's no water shortage anymore. Everybody's happy. And there you go. And maybe the engineers can figure out it'll last 150 years, 200 years. And then from there, we figure something else out then. But that's my solution to it, Mike. Thanks, man.
All right, Kyle. Appreciate the call. The idea of a pipeline has been discussed in this region for decades, but the idea was always that we were going to manage without such a project. And now, sure, Kyle is not wrong about that being a potential solution to our current water woes. One of the biggest problems with it, though, is even if we started tomorrow, I believe the timeline is 20 years. I don't even want to know how many billions of dollars, but what are we doing between now and the completion of the pipeline if that's the choice we make? Oh, I have so many questions. Walter is next on Free Phones Friday. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Mike. Hey, I just got in the vehicle here, and I've been out of touch on your show here today. But I have to do my 20 minutes now, right? So, what exactly is the issue with the water, Mike? I mean, it can't be a quantity issue, is it?
It is. It is a water supply issue. We do not have enough.
Really? In this area of this province, we don't have enough water?
Well, I'm sure you're thinking of the Great Lakes and the access to that.
No.
Sure. Okay, what are you thinking of?
Well, I have some friends that live over off of a Town Line Road in Cambridge. Are you aware of where that is?
I am.
Okay, and on one side of the road, it's all housing, and on the other side, there's no housing, right? Because that is the county of Wellington, and they wanted to actually try and put some houses in over on that side, and and the county would not let them do it because they wanted to tap into Puslinch's water, and they have tons of water in Puslinch, as you know. It's all sand and gravel out there. And if they can let Nielsen's or Nestle or whatever the heck it was called.
It was Nestle. I forget the company that owns it now. But yeah, with the water bottling plant.
Yeah. And they were taking out like millions of liters out of there.
They were.
And getting paid like next to nothing. Maybe they can work out a deal with those guys or something like that. I mean, why does it have to be the Great Lakes? Because as soon as you tap into the Great Lakes, like our friend on the other side of the border, because they are having water problems, and with the population they got, they will soon suck the water right out of the Great Lakes if that ends up being the issue. But I just find it hard to believe that there's a quantity issue with water around here. But, okay, thanks.
All right, Walter, I think we all find it a little hard to believe. But when you consider we have been relying on groundwater sources all this time, and look, we have enough water here in the region to serve our current needs. Just quickly on that Nestle issue and the water bottling that was happening in the Guelph area, Aberfoyle, I think to be precise. But one of the best scams going, eh? They take the same water out of the ground that the city and the region is using for its own water supply. So what you get out of your tap is the same stuff that this multinational corporation is pulling out of the ground and then putting into a bottle and selling to you. Just let that sink in. And we've been falling for this for how long? It's one of the most ridiculous things. However, on the issue here in the region, yes, we are currently pausing development because we made some bad calculations as to the impact of our intensification, right? We've been talking about this for so long. Like Walter just described, on one side of Town Line Road, houses. On the other side, nothing. We've got this countryside line here. You can only build houses so far out. So we kept being told, build up, not out. So intensification, infill. And we calculated poorly the impact that those infill developments would have on our existing water supply. So now we're saying, hang on, we got to get a handle on this before we move forward with new approvals for new things. This is, believe it or not, the reality that we face because somebody somewhere screwed up real bad. And now we're trying to untangle the mess and work our way forward. The quality of your water is fine. I was drinking more of it last night. Everything's cool. But the quantity of water is currently an issue here in the region of Waterloo. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and we will continue with Open Line Radio. It is Free Phones Friday just for you. You want to talk water? You want to talk encampments? You want to talk about Brian Bellows of the Kitchener Rangers? We can do all those things on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
1, 2. Got the old ring in the
It is Ding Dong by George Harrison on this All Request Friday. New songs edition. Ring out the old, ring in the new. That one by request from Mark on your All Request Friday. Fridays also mean free phones. Not that we give you a free phone. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But we open the phone lines so you can speak directly at us on Free Phones Friday. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. All this talk about water and where we are at with the issue here in the region reminds me of the incredible opportunity I had yesterday afternoon to sit down for a coffee with a former mayor of Wilmot Township. And he, now 92 years young, has collected over these many years, newspaper clippings. I can't even count the number of newspaper clippings carefully preserved in scrapbooks from issues that he battled as the mayor of Wilmot decades ago. And wouldn't you know, among the issues, the supply of water in this community. There was a story, I believe it was 1989. I'm trying to remember I'm pretty sure. Anyway, but that story talked of the concern of a water shortage in this region if we didn't get our act together by 1991. So we were talking about it back then, and if we didn't amalgamate our feces, we'd have a shortage of water by 1991. Here we are 35 years after that, and what have we got? But even back then, they were talking about a pipeline. And you want to know how much the pipeline would have cost back then? In the late 80s? $236 million. $236 million. But I digress. What a great opportunity that was to speak with the former mayor and realize that this issue ain't new. The new part is we done screwed it up this time, didn't we? Let's go back to the phones on Free Phones Friday. Toll-free Jay, good afternoon. Mr. Toll-Free Jay, I can barely hear a word you're saying, young man.
I heard you mention Mr. Bellows. What is he doing now?
He is working in the finance world.
Okay. When is the municipal election?
October, I can't remember off the top of my head, but October. 26th, I think. But when October.
Okay. The reason I need to know is so I can make sure I've got people to help me vote.
We will make sure you get your voting card, Jay.
Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. That's what we're here for. We will remind you plenty of times between now and October so you can cast your ballot in the municipal election. Andre, good afternoon. You're on Free Phones Friday.
Game day, baby.
Game day, baby.
I think you should leave your car there and just walk and get some steps in, Mike.
I will. I'll get some steps in tonight.
Awesome. I'm calling, of course, I'll finish with Brian Bellows, but I'd like to put a point in. I've been listening to a lot about it and about, I would say, pipeline, Donald Trump, what's happening in the world. You know, I remember him saying, I'm going to try and focus on this, that he said back in the days, 51 state, Canada, and we don't have to worry about soldier stuff like that, but he would cripple us economy. Okay, and that's been going on. Now, he's been going out in the world with Putin and with China and all this stuff, talking. And he always comes back pretty happy about the talking. So there is no world war. It's more about economy. War is about money, right? So now he wants Greenland. Oh, we're getting invaded. Russia's there. China. No. He wants it first. So it's all about the pipeline. So I do believe that because a conservator with Danielle Smith, Poilievre, Doug Ford did not get along, and that's why Carney got in so high, and now Mrs. Danielle Smith has to do something about the pipeline for Canada. Have a good day, Mike.
Thanks, Andre. Appreciate the call. Always nice to get different perspectives. Rory is next. Good afternoon, Rory.
Hey, Mike was vibing out earlier there on the song. Thank you.
Excellent choice, my friend. Thanks for the request.
Thank you. Yeah, a little throwback to the 70s. I don't think I've ever talked about the encampment before, but I will say this. Generally speaking, I think, it is kind of a basic human right for, everyone in our society to have some form of basic shelter over their head. And in my opinion, relying on the region to fill that void is quite frankly unsustainable. And if it is a basic human right and it is a charter right, then quite frankly, in my opinion, it falls squarely and solely on the federal government to provide the necessary funding to get a roof over everyone's home. And when we talk about nation-building projects, we want to talk about gas lines and we want to talk about bridges and roads and all these great things. What a great nation-building project if everyone in Canada could have a roof over their head, Mike, regardless of where you live.
It's an excellent idea, Rory, and I don't disagree. The federal government's getting a pretty easy go on all of this.
Yeah, and I think it was Mayor Shantz that had suggested in the meeting that the region, when it comes to what the quote unquote provincial minimum is for investing, is far ahead of what their expectation should be. And so, to all of our MPs who are listening today, and of course all of our MPPs who are sitting in their constituency offices listening today, we need leadership, and we need it at a higher level. And this, quite frankly, should not be a regional issue, but it's being dumped on them by higher levels, and it needs to be fixed.
Rory, appreciate the call. Enjoy the weekend ahead, my friend.
You too, my friend. Go Rangers, go.
I love that sentiment. I can get behind it. Go Rangers, go indeed. Big game versus Oshawa tonight. Brian Bellows gets enshrined in the new level of legacy at the Memorial Auditorium. New faces in the Rangers lineup. Pre-game show brought to you by Harris Law starts at 6:30 right here on 570 News Radio. On the point about nation-building projects, and Rory says, wouldn't it be great if the nation-building project was a roof over everyone's head? On Monday on the show, we're going to be talking about one of the proposed nation-building projects. How about that high-speed rail? And maybe we can say, forget those billions for high-speed rail between Toronto and Montreal. Let's get housing for people. Why not? It's unsustainable to think that we can do this at the local level. That is for sure. And I'll remind you again, as I have before, think of it like that old saying about a chain, right? It's only as strong as its weakest link. We can't build a nation on crumbling cities. And if you look around with a cynical eye, even this lovely region is crumbling in so many areas. We got to figure this out at some point. Heather is with us on Free Phones Friday. Good afternoon, Heather.
Hello, Mike. Just wanted to call and talk about Brian Bellows.
I would love to. I'll talk about him all day.
I know. My most favorite player, so he's my age. So back in the 80s, all my friends in high school, he made watching a Ranger game so much fun. And he's such a huge part of my high school growing up because I absolutely loved him. Favorite player. Every time, he came on, you could expect a goal. It was exciting. Love him.
You and me both. An incredible player, an incredible leader, first captain of a Memorial Cup champion in Kitchener. Are you going to be at the game tonight, Heather?
Absolutely.
Atta girl. I love to hear it.
Oh, do they do a meet and greet, or is he just we'll just see him on the ice?
Yeah, I don't think there's any meet and greet. Anything that happens in that regard will be behind the scenes for Brian and his family, I do believe. But he will, I'm sure, I'm just guessing it'll be like when Pete DeBoer was here a couple of months ago. Yeah. He'll be out at center ice, and hopefully he'll say a few words to us.
Yeah, do you get to interview him?
I do. I can't even tell you how excited I am, Heather. I can't.
I know. Oh, yeah. 23 has been my favorite number ever since 1981 or whatever when he came on. Yeah, so can't wait. I'm excited.
Great stuff. Thanks for the call, Heather.
Bye.
All right, bye-bye. You remember it was an SNL skit, right? When Chris Farley interviewed Paul McCartney and he just sat there and gushed. And I believe the first question is, Why are you so awesome? 100% going to be my first question to Brian Bellows tonight. Why are you so awesome, Mr. Bellows? This is the Mike Farwell Show. Free Phones Friday, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It's U2 and a song called New York. By request from Conservative Charlie on this All Request Friday, new songs edition. It's the first All Request Friday of the new year, don't you know? So we made new the theme. We will do another All Request Friday 1 week from now, of course, because every Friday is an All Request Friday, and we'll put a theme to it, and you make your song request based on that theme. Get as creative as you would like. New York, I think, gets directly to the point of new songs on our All Request Friday. Fridays also mean free phones. We open up the phone lines for our final hour together of the week. Get your thoughts of the day, of the week, maybe just your random shower thoughts, whatever it is that happens to be on your mind. Please don't call while you're in the shower, though. I don't think that would work out well for either of us. Grant, you're next. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. We got some new faces, and Andy Noski. I don't like his stupid penalties, but I like when he agitates the other team.
Grant,
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor, please, and remember that this is a family show, and there are certain words and there is certain language that we don't use on this family show?
All right. I like.
Okay, just that's fine. So you're glad Matt Andonovsky's back. You're excited about the new faces in the lineup.
And I've got a new tune. I've been having your name in mind, and it's similar to Aretha Franklin's Respect, but instead it has Mike's name in it. We like Mike the way he is. What does Mike spell? Magnificent. I, intelligent. K, knowledgeable. E, empowerment. We don't want you to change, Mike. We like you feisty as you are, buddy. That's it.
Grant, that might go down in the 570 News Radio Call Hall of Fame. You come up with your own song. And what was I? Magnificent, intelligent, knowledgeable. I wonder what my beloved thinks of these descriptors of me. And empowerment. We like you just the way you are, Mike. Feisty. There's no F, well, there's an F in my last name. There you go. Farwell is feisty. Grant, you're a stone cold beauty, buddy. Thanks for the call. Mary is next on Free Phones. Good afternoon, Mary.
Hey, that was good from Grant.
Was it now? I got another word to describe it, but whatever.
I love hearing from the guy.
I know you do.
I love hearing from everybody. But anyway, I had mentioned the MPP, and you said so, but my MPP is Mike Harris.
Who?
Mike Harris.
Who?
Come on.
You mean the former premier?
Mike Harris Jr. is
you mean like the regional councillor, Michael Harris?
Well, he's also been elected.
Wait a minute, Mary. How many Mike Harrises can there? Are you pulling my leg right now? How many Mike Harrises can there be?
Mike Harris Jr.
Nah, I've never heard of him. Never heard of him. Never heard of him.
Oh, come on.
What? What do you say?
Are you trying to play with me?
Never, Mary. I'm always serious with you all the time.
No, he is our member of provincial parliament.
Who?
Mine. And he never gets. I call the office. Never gets back to you.
Really? I'm shocked by this, Mary. I'm utterly shocked by this. Maybe it's because he's in North Bay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, surely when you have an MPP for your area, they generally pull a few strings, right? And so he could pull a few strings at Queen's Park to get more money for the homeless in his region. Go, Rangers, go!
Thank you, Mary. Mary is number one on our official and growing list of members of Farwell's force. You may have heard Walter make reference earlier this hour when he phoned. He said, I'm just getting into the show. I got to put in my 20 minutes, which is going over and above what is required of you should you wish to be an official member of Farwell's force. Let me just pull out the old list here, because we've now gone beyond 280 members. We started this in late 2025, and I thought we might be lucky to get to 46 people who are like, you got to recognize what it is you're sticking your neck out on here, right? You are willing to admit publicly and have your name written in ink. I make some scratches when I make mistakes, but your name gets written in ink on this official list of members of Farwell's force. And yes, we have now gone beyond 280. I'm astounded by this. Mary is number one. And when Walter called earlier and said he was just starting his 20 minutes, what I have asked of you in response to having your name included among the many now names on Farwell's force is listening for 15 minutes. But it can't just be 15 minutes on Friday. And it can't just be 15 minutes on Tuesday. It has to be 15 minutes every day. Or like Walter, make it 20. Hey, I'm good with it. 20 minutes, 4 hours. We're on from 9 till 1 every day. By all means, listen for as much as you would like. But a minimum of 15 minutes every day. It can be a different 15 minutes. That's fine. But you commit to 15 minutes, we'll put your name on our list of official members of Farwell's force. A force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. That's the group that you can be a part of. Now, 280 members and growing. We're getting stuff done around here. Just this week, we were talking about a couple of Farwell show bumps. We bring up an issue. We say the issue needs to be addressed. And wouldn't you know, we talk about it on the show and suddenly it's being addressed. That happened twice just this week. My next mission is to get the city to take the responsibility off me and remind you that, especially on a day like today, shovel, clear your catch basin, that storm sewer grate that might be in front of your house. If you didn't know it was there, find it, dig it out, because when we get a thaw like this, the water needs some place to go when it starts running. Otherwise, your street will be like my street, and the water will start to pool on that street. That's a few weeks ago when I realized, I guess maybe I'm supposed to shovel this thing. I had no idea. Admitted, I'm a bit of a dummy, but I don't know why the city doesn't deliver that messaging. So I am taking it upon myself to deliver the message on behalf of the city. Make sure, please, that you clear your catch basin. This is the time of year where it's really important. This is also the time that we have to say goodbye for another week here on the show. By the way, you want to get on the list of Farwell's Force members, just drop me an email, mike@570news.com. I am more than happy to include you. Looking ahead to our show on Monday, I already mentioned high-speed rail and whether or not it's the nation-building project we should be pursuing. We'll talk about that. It is a very significant day in the Russia-Ukraine war. We'll tell you why. And how much of a tax burden are we fairly or unfairly facing in this region? We'll talk about that on the show Monday as well. I'm looking forward to talking to you then. If you're going to be at the Rangers game tonight, I can't wait to see your face. If you can't make it, listen for coverage with Josh Piercy and I starting at 6:30 with your Harris Law pregame show. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.